Look, here comes our fearless producer.
Gwynn and Chris starts right now on 97.3 The Fan.
Hey, what's happening in San Diego? Awesome to be with you. Awesome that it's a Friday. Finally a Friday, and of course it's a Friar Friday. As we head into the weekend here, Gwynn and Chris on 97.3 The Fan. Chris Ello, Tony Gwynn Jr. down at Petco Park, and of course Matt Skraby alongside here in the Odyssey Palace Studios. We've got Matt Waldron coming up for you on our Friar Friday interview. That will be taking place in about 20 minutes, so Padre fans, stick around to hear from really what has been a great success story. Matt Waldron coming from, nowhere to grab hold of not only the number 5 spot, but now he seems to be one of the most reliable starters the Padres have. We'll talk with him about all of that. We've got a countdown today that I think will be fun for everybody in the 3 o'clock hour. We're going to go back through some of the great nicknames in the history of sports. This in the wake of the passing earlier this week of the Say Hey kid, Willie Mays. And we head on out to Petco Park, where we have our friend Tony Gwynn Jr., who I saw out there last night, wearing his Milwaukee Brewer blue suit last night. Did you realize that that's what you were wearing, Tony?
No, I wasn't wearing it.
It's a weird thing to notice, Chris.
Well, he had kind of a light blue color there. It was very Brewer-like, I thought.
Wow.
Last time I checked, Brewers were navy and yellow.
But they do wear light blue for their City Connects.
Oh, that's what it was. It looked like a Brewer City Connect suit. That's right.
Huh.
Sorry about this, Tony. I didn't know this is how we're starting.
I didn't see it that way, but I think it's a compliment. So thank you.
It was a compliment. You looked very sharp
Chris,
last night.
you have a blue shirt on right now. The chat
Milwaukee
is
Brewer
out.
blue. That's right. I'm wearing my Milwaukee Brewer blue shirt here tonight. Before we get to last night's thrilling Padre victory, and it was thrilling, 7-6 over the Milwaukee Brewers, and all of the crazy things that have happened with the Padres, I think we have to start today, Tony, with the note that before the show started, I looked out the window before I came in, and I saw Skraby's car parked down in the parking lot down here at the Odyssey Palace. Mm-hmm. And fortunately, for the car parked next to him, that car was not parked on the line next to Skraby's car.
Yes.
I said this
that
is
that
an
can get you in
off-the-air
trouble
story.
with Matthew
This is
Skraby.
an off-the-air
Because
story.
apparently earlier today, somebody at the Starbucks in the neighborhood made the mistake of parking their car a little too close to that of Matthew Skraby. And
Now,
what?
Skraby, was it a little too close, or was
I
it on
love
the
how
line?
he's framing this like it's my fault.
Oh no, it was not your fault.
By
This
the
is
way, next time Chris
100%.
says this is off the air stuff, I'm immediately
And we
gonna
told
bring
you
it to the
immediately
air.
that we were going to
I
put it
didn't
on the
actually
air.
think you were going to do it.
No, we
Didn't
told you
actually think
immediately we were going to put it
We
on
did
the air.
tell you it was going to come on.
Yeah,
the
but I
air.
thought that was just
You
the
can't act
follow-up
like you didn't
joke.
know this was coming.
The follow-up joke, I thought was,
No,
we're going to do
this
it
is
anyway.
going on the air for sure. So why don't you want it on the air? I think
Because I
you're
lost my mind, Chris.
You're serving notice to the rest of the parking public out there to park your car where it belongs between the two lines, right, Scrape? That's all you're trying to do.
Yes.
The only message you're trying to get across here.
So when I went, now that we're talking about this, I
Yeah.
went to go pick up my coffee. The parking lot was tight, so I parked in a tight spot, but I was in between the lines. I made sure of that.
Right.
Now, getting out of the car was kind of tough. Because
Wait,
the car,
what was the car next to you?
the
looking
car
like?
next to me on the left of on the driver's side was backed in, number one.
well, that's the first
And
mistake they made right
on-
there.
Not illegal.
on the line, number two.
You know what?
That's
a
a
good
problem.
point, Tony Gwynn Jr. Backing in ought to be illegal.
No.
Let's move to make that a reality, Scrape.
I
You guys
agree.
would, if you had that on any,
Ballot?
bill,
A
ballot,
somewhere, you don't think it would pass?
you guys would get trounced.
I don't know.
I don't
A lot of
know.
people who
Pretty
don't
sure.
like people who
Pretty
back
sure
in.
you get trounced.
I don't know.
And we
I
don't
have
like-
heard from a lot of the backwards parkers.
I know,
Because
but
what
the
I do
person
know
who-
is, people like to have the freedom of choice when it comes to
well,
packing in.
you know what?
So
we're
you
living
guys
in a
would get-
society now where we're taking choices away, and it's high time that we
Take this one away too.
take this one away as well.
Anyway.
But here, because the guy was backed in, next to Skraby, and
His
he was-
driver's
and he
side
was
door.
on- and he was indeed on the line, which was
Yes.
made it work. But because this guy was backed in, and you're trying to get into the car right where he is.
Well, I'm trying to get out first.
Okay, first get out.
So yeah, finish your story. You got out the car.
So I get out the car and I'm trying to get out, and it's a tight squeeze. Like I'm sucking in at this point, trying to get out, and
trying to get skinnier.
And I'm not trying to hit the car next to me, but a fit of anger hit me, and I was like, you know what, screw it. So I opened the door. I didn't slam it. I just rested it on the other car, so it gave me the couple more inches I needed to get out. Okay, close the door, go get my coffee, come back. Guy's sitting in his car now. I go and try to open my door again, and I am really having a hard time getting in the car.
Plus, you're balancing
slithering.
a coffee.
I have my coffee.
Yeah, you're balancing
my
a coffee.
shoulder.
And this is all while you're trying not to touch his door.
Yes, and
That's
my
right.
shoulder is absolutely killing
Not only
me.
are you not trying to touch his door, but he's sitting right there looking out the window at your
Watching
effort
me.
to get into the
Yes.
car.
So my door,
Like daring you to touch his door.
that's
at
right.
This point.
my door opens onto his car.
That's right.
Because I couldn't fit into my car, and I was so angry. So he rolls
Meanwhile,
down the
your
window.
shoulder's throbbing too. I'm
Yeah.
sure.
Oh God, my shoulder is in so much pain today because of this. But he rolled down his window and he was like, "Hey, dude, you just hit my car," and then I lost my mind.
Yeah, you did.
And
I wish this was an after dark episode where you could really tell
oh
him
yeah.
what
You'll-
you said.
You'll hear
But-
what you'll understand what I said, but I said when he said, "Hey, dude, you hit my car," I said, "Well, then don't park on the bleeping line then." And I got in my car, embarrassed as all hell, and backed out and did a Rory McIlroy screech around the corner.
I think you struck a victory for all of us out
I
there.
think you did.
Who try
I
to
think you
park
did.
between the lines and are tired of these people who have so little regard for the rest of society. And I think this
Yeah.
is a society issue
Yes, it is.
that they park on the line and just think it's fine. No, it's not fine.
It's not fine.
It's
That's
not.
right. You're not
It's
any
not.
better than anybody. And the guy who did this is lucky that you didn't just pull out and decide to sacrifice your front left bumper by screeching across his entire side of his car.
No, I would never do that. My
as you
car's brand
pulled
new.
out.
My car's brand
Hey,
new. It's not even a
tell-
year old yet.
Well,
But
hey.
we've all thought about it at
That's
one
right.
point in
Oh,
time. Like,
yeah.
you know what? It might be worth just jacking my car up just to leave
Just
a
to
nice
do that. Yeah.
line across the side of this person's door.
Exactly.
I'm telling
We've
you
all
right
thought
now,
about it.
if
Us-
I had my
us-
Prius, I probably would have done it.
Well, this is, what you wanted to do today is the reason they invented rental cars. Because if you had
No,
a rental
this is
car,
not
you would
the
have had no
reason,
problem
no.
doing that.
No, Bam Margera did this one time. He got in big trouble for it.
Oh, well, that's another story.
Hey,
He actually rented a
that-
car, trashed it, and then took it
Did-
back. Anyway, go ahead.
Did said driver have anything to say back to you?
I didn't look back at him, but no, they didn't say anything. I think they were like, "Oh God, this guy's crazier than I am. I'm gonna be quiet."
Or in the back of his mind, he knew he was out of pocket
Yeah,
for
exactly.
being on the
Thank
line
you.
in the
He
first
knew he
place.
was out of pocket.
Yeah, I don't.
Scraby,
I
thank
don't know
you.
about that.
Well, I think
don't
we
know about
owe
that.
you all a big round of applause.
We do.
And
Give
thanks
yourself a round of
for
applause.
sticking
Wow.
up for the rest of us
Wow,
who try to
okay.
park our car decently and within the lines. Good job, Scraby.
Thank you.
Not a
Thank
boy.
you.
No, I think you did what was right there.
Yes, there's someone on the chat. Hope springs eternal. I'm handicapped, and it infuriates me when people park in handicapped spaces and they are not handicapped. Yes, please, people, if you do not need to use that space, don't use the space. What is the problem?
It's not hard, guys. It really isn't. You got the two lines there. Park your car in there. Hey, you know what? Nobody is judging you if you got to do it 2 or 3 times to get it right. Nobody's
I'm
judging.
That's right.
I'm
Get it
judging.
right.
Get it right. Well, Jesse, so maybe Skraby is over here judging you because of it. He also doesn't want you to park on the line. So, he can't have it both ways.
I can't.
But
You're right. You're right.
I just said, just take your time, park it right,
I feel good now.
Yeah, I think
You
I
should.
knew you would.
Yeah. You should feel good.
Yeah, you should. You're unburdened. And here's yeah. And here's the one thing about the handicap thing. Every now and again, I drive with my mother-in-law, who does have a legal handicap card.
Okay.
And so, she'll bring it and say, "Hey, let's use the handicap parking here so we can get a close spot." But when I park in there, I always limp out of the car.
Oh my
I
goodness.
just don't feel like I should get out and sprint into the store. You know what I mean?
Oh God, I can't. What?
I can't believe
You fake injury to make people believe?
A little bit. Yeah, I don't feel right.
But is your mother-in-law using the said placard?
She uses it.
Yes, okay.
You know,
That's okay, though, if
She
she's
has
using it.
legitimately has it. Yes.
yes.
That is hilarious
But-
that this guy gets out of his car and limps.
I
when
gotta
he's with
limp
his
a little bit,
mother-in-law.
just a little bit,
How long do you limp for? Do you come out of the store limping too?
just in
He
case.
he goes in and comes out.
That's right. No,
I respect you for admitting that, Chris, because I don't
do
know
too.
that I would have admitted
That's
that.
that's quality. Like that is what happens when
You
are
your soul is convicted, right? It's like,
It's like
I
right.
know I shouldn't be doing this, so you know what? I'm gonna at least try to blend in here by
Yes, because of the, I thought of this because of the person who wrote in on the chat that they actually are handicapped,
Yeah.
and need that spot, in order to get where they want to go. And I'm probably taking their spot once in a while.
Jacob makes a great point. People are allowed to be non-visibly handicapped, Chris. You don't need to limp. Are you carrying, are you carrying crutches in your car now?
It's
Well, somebody explain the rules on this. If
I
you're
feel
mentally
Chris.
disabled, like I clearly am,
Yes.
can I get a card for that?
I
No,
feel
you
that I
can't
can
because
get
you're
one.
not actually mentally
That's what
disabled.
I mean.
I feel
I don't know. People might argue that.
I
Skraby.
feel
I
Chris
feel Chris
on
on
this
this
one.
one.
Like
you
in his mind he knows.
Like,
Like, I'm not. I know I'm driving my mother-in-law, and she definitely needs it. But I'm perfectly fine. And so, I understand that logic. And
I do too.
I'm gonna limp out of this car. At least so
Just
people
a
don't
little
think I'm.
bit. Just a little bit. All right.
That's good stuff.
We had some crazy stuff to open the show today, but we've got
That
plenty
was.
of time. Padres win last night, their third consecutive walk-off home victory, tying an all-time Major League record. That's amazing. It's actually the first time that a team has done the walk-off in the bottom of the ninth inning 3 games in a row. If they do it again tonight, my goodness, that would really be spectacular. So an exciting night out at Petco Park. We'll recap all of it here in a little bit, but we have to make way for our Friar Friday interview with Matt Waldron. Look, this has been a great story, and hopefully he keeps this hot run going. We're lucky to have him on the show. We are underway. Gwynn and Chris, Friday, Waldron, Cauldron, next on Gwynn and Chris.
Hey, it's Ben from 97.3 The
2:19 on the clock. Tony Gwynn Jr., Chris Ello, Matt Skraby. Matt Waldron joins us here shortly. Talk about his terrific start to the season that got off to a bit of a rough start, has more than found its level at this point. As he is the hottest Padres starting pitcher right now.
Yeah.
He'll join us here briefly.
He's got eight consecutive games, Tony, allowing 2 or fewer runs. I mean, that's an impressive stretch.
Some good offenses in there too.
Yeah, right.
He's done that again. So, I think Mr. Skraby has got him on the line, getting him all set. I would love to go into a different subject, but I just feel like Matt's going to tell me he's ready, and there's a thumbs up. Let's bring in our Friar Friday guest. Matt Waldron joins us here on Gwynn and Chris. Matt, welcome to the show. How are you today, my man?
I'm doing good. It's another great day in the big leagues, so I'm enjoying that, and I just got out of the field, so feeling good.
So before we got you before you even got into any of your routine. I mean, let's just start with, you made the club out of spring. You earned a spot out of spring. The season, I'd say the first couple starts maybe didn't go the way you liked them to, but it just seems like every start that you have made, you've learned something from the previous start, and you have been able to apply it in a way, and it just seems like you're in a good groove right now.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I feel like I am too. I feel like I'm learning something from each start, and the best way to learn sometimes is the hardest way, and that's failing at that level and just pretty badly, like the Cardinals start and the Diamondback start. I feel like just really, I had to make some adjustments.
Matt, did you hear any of the noise in the month of April? And if so, how tough was it as you're trying to legitimize and kind of prove to everybody that you belong here? I mean, it's pretty obvious to all of us now that you are where you are supposed to be, but I'm sure that there was maybe a little extra stress on yourself to try and go out and show what you could really do early this season.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think just, keeping the ERA at a good spot is always at the front of a starting pitcher's mind. And just, when you're not doing well, and there's probably some better options out there if you don't turn things around. So you really gotta perform, immediately.
Matt Waldron joins us here on Gwynn and Chris. And Matt, you've kind of evolved as a guy who has a knuckleball. I don't know if that you would call yourself a knuckleballer at this point, but what do you think has led to this success? I mean, I've talked to you a little bit about it in the clubhouse about your different ranges of your knuckleball. The one thing that stands out to me is on days that you haven't necessarily been able to command it the way you want, you've been able to lean on that sweeper and on that cutter and on that sinker to get you back in at bats so that you could use the knuckleball. Has that kind of been the evolution in your year so far?
Yeah, I would definitely say that. I think, number one, I would say, I rely on the knuckleball for sure. And if that thing's not going, it definitely I have to rely on something else, whether that's a sweeper or, backdoor two-seamer, anything really. You just, I feel like, yeah, having all of them isn't always possible, but when they're on, it definitely makes the job less tough.
Matt Waldron is with us from the Padres, who play the Brewers tonight, and our Friar Friday guest. Matt, I'm curious, how much of a knuckleball savant are you or have you become? And I'm talking about some of the history and the pitchers that have used the knuckleball, and have you had a chance to speak to some of these guys at all? Charlie Huff, Tom Candiotti, talk about the pitch. It seems like back in the day anyway, the knuckleballer was kind of a fraternity unto itself. Right now, you're a pitcher unto yourself because no one else is throwing it. So who do you lean on to talk about this crazy thing that you have?
Yeah, I've definitely talked with a couple guys. I'd say Tom Candiotti significantly, and he's always left the door open. So if I ever have questions or hit a wall, and this game can definitely make you do that. So I'll reach out to him, but I can't say I've looked up so much of the history that I know all about I'd probably disappoint you on saying that I just don't know as much about the history. Obviously, I know Wakefield, and I think or I believe he's the reason why I started throwing it. And so it's been cool to experience it, but really just, I feel like I'm able to throw that pitch, and learning how to compete with it was the hardest part at first. But and I feel like I'm learning. I'm just trying to make strides, and I'm always a student of this game. And I feel like some things have been clicking a little bit recently.
I have to share with you, having been up in the booth next to Tom. This guy is beaming watching you throw the knuckleball and have the success that you're having. I mean, obviously, he talked a little bit about you guys' relationship and giving you some little tidbits. And he made the note to myself that you've kind of gone through the same evolution as every knuckleballer, right? I think there's a part of you that, I still got good stuff on the other pitches. I don't necessarily want to become just a knuckleballer, but we've seen you at times when you've had your most success throwing it at a high level. He is certainly a guy who it seems like is in your corner, even though, he's working with another team right now.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I really appreciated that, just having, and I think he's supportive too. And that's what I think I've loved the most is just he wants to see me do well. And I think that does more than even just leaving the door open. Like, I think just that support, and he's been very helpful.
Matt Waldron is with us. Grew up in Omaha, Nebraska, for those who might wonder. Went to the University of Nebraska, but grew up a Kansas City Chiefs fan, which is why this next quote is so amazing. The quote is, "I'm trying to learn the knuckleball the Waldron dude from the Padres throws." And the guy who said that quote was Patrick Mahomes, no less, the Chiefs quarterback. Have you had a chance to talk with him? Has he contacted you yet? I know you were kind of fired up about that, though.
Yeah, that was a crazy experience. I remember hearing, or I got a couple texts saying, "Hey, the MVP shouted you out." And for us that day, the MVP of our game was Jackson because he hit the walk-off. So I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. But then I realized they were talking about Mahomes, so that was a different level. And then, but no, I haven't gotten to talk to him. I'd say I'm a little nervous. I don't think I'm quite qualified to.
Oh, you're qualified. Come on.
But that definitely crossed my mind. But no, wow, yeah, that was a definite high in my life for sure that I don't think I would have thought meant as much as it does.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Matt Waldron joins us here. Matt, a little bit about game planning as you go into each of these starts. You and Ruben, I assume, and whoever's catching, we know it's going to usually be Kyle catching, get together, you formulate your game plan. How much is that able to stick depending on how well the knuckleball feels? Because a lot of times for the knuckleballers in the past, they would have a start in which they just had no feel for the knuckleball, and they would get hit. You don't necessarily have to go through that because you have the other pitches. Has there been a start where the knuckleball just didn't feel good coming out, and you kind of had to adjust the game plan?
Yeah, absolutely. And those are scary, to be honest. Those are like, it's feel like I'm fighting with one arm or something, I would say. So I don't feel quite as whole without it. But I would say the Red series was definitely one there. I was just like, or the Reds at home, the first time we played them was tough for me. And that being, when I have a lack of belief in it, that's even another like just really like debilitating, scenario, and it gets to you. So I feel like just that lack of belief in it too kind of doubles down on top of just the results that it wasn't getting.
Well, let's get in the results now for you, Matt. And some of the quotes. To hear Jazz Chisholm say he thinks it's the best pitch in baseball, and Bryson Stott the other day said, man, he threw one to Bohm that hit him and then threw the same pitch to me and it dropped in for a strike. I didn't know what to do. It's nice to hear that, I'm sure. Real last thing I wanted to ask you, because I did have a chance to visit with Phil Niekro one time, the great knuckleballer, and he detailed this whole thing to me about what he does between starts and on game days in terms of keeping his fingernails right. Because it's actually a fingernail ball in a lot of ways. Got to dig them into the ball.
That's true.
Right. So are you very careful, like between starts, or is it just day of game to make sure that everything is exactly right the way you need it?
Yeah, I would say at first I was like obsessing over it a little bit, and then I think that, and then that like I guess psyched me out a little bit. So like I'd be like, oh no, that's a millimeter too long or something, because it really is. So I feel like just I kind of get it dialed in the night before, and that way I don't have to worry about it. And if it's a little long, like I'd rather shy on it being too long than too short. And I'm like, yeah. So that is. There's some serious truth to that. Yeah, the nail length being very important.
That's interesting. A lot of knuckleballers that I've seen carry a file with them,
Yes,
and they're
they do.
constantly shaping the nails. That's super interesting. Matt, we'll let you go, man. We know you got to get your day started. Appreciate you coming on. Continued success as we move forward in the season, and thanks for giving us some of your time.
Thanks, Matt.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Good luck.
Matt Waldron,
Continued
Padres knuckleballer.
That was one of my favorite interviews. I really enjoyed that one. That was a lot of. I mean, they're all fun, but that one was kind of really good.
There's a lot of humility in there. You can hear as he is talking about himself. You can see that it's uncomfortable talking about himself.
Right.
But
and I have no right to get to talk to Patrick Mahomes. Yes, you do.
Yeah, you're a professional.
He's the one who
baseball
wants to
player.
know
He
about
brought
the
you
knuckleball.
up.
That's right. He brought you in on this. So
yeah, no doubt.
yeah.
We got a few minutes. The Padre lineup just dropped.
All right. Let's get to it. Scrape. Good boy.
Looks
Scrape's
like
ready.
Well, sorry. I don't know why I just tried to start talking while Tony's
He's
going to
give the lineup right now.
I
yeah,
know.
same lineup as last night.
I
Cool,
like
cool.
that. Worked last night. Might work again.
Although, was David Peralta the DH?
He was not the DH. I said
Jersey.
same lineup. I didn't say the positions were the same there,
Yes.
buddy.
Oh, I wasn't calling you
Profar
out,
goes back
Tony.
to the
Jeez.
Profar goes back to the outfield tomorrow.
You know what? I'm gonna go fight Tony in the parking lot right now because of this. Come
Yeah,
on, man.
I'm parked on the line, buddy.
Parked on the line, buddy.
Man, I better
what were
watch,
you gonna
I better
say,
watch
though?
myself in the studio today, guys. I could be in danger with the way Scraby's reacting.
Scraby, do you
what
remember
was
what you were
I going
gonna
to say? I was going to say. Oh yes, I was going to say that Chris, I knew was going to ask about a Necro brother or whatever it
I
is.
love
I was, by the
Necros.
way, that was a
It was a
great,
good answer.
It was a great question because I don't think many people know. I had forgotten until you started to ask the question, until you said something about his nails.
Right.
I remember Charlie Huff and Candiotti and Wakefield talking about how they have to keep their nails.
Yeah.
And it's so funny, for a pitcher like Matt Waldron, who really is like learning. He's just, pretty new to the knuckleball for the most part. Him obsessing over the length.
Yeah.
The
that's
first
funny.
few I could totally see that being a thing.
Yeah, sure.
But what I was trying to say is I was going to go into it making fun of Chris, but he elicited a very good response. So good question, Chris.
God, you just
Padres,
that's where you
real
always
quick.
start with wanting to make fun of me, and then I have to earn your,
Yes.
your trust.
Yes.
Padres did make a roster move today. Adam Major goes down. Tom Cosgrove back to the big leagues.
Yes. Well, and that's a smart move because the bullpen is taxed at the moment,
Yeah.
so they need
Taxed.
another arm.
Major way.
Yeah. All right.
All right, let's get to break. More Gwynn and Chris on the side. Scrape, where we going next?
We got
gotta
some Mike
do-
Schultz.
Well, we got to do last night's game because there were so many crazy
Yeah.
things that happened last
That
night
too.
that I want to get into.
You know what? I forgot we didn't do the last night's
Yeah,
game.
we haven't done
'cause
last
were
night's
talking
game
about
yet.
your parking situation. That's
Yeah.
right.
Yes. For 12 minutes to
We'll,
start the show.
we'll recap last night's game when we return. More Gwynn and Chris.
Ben and Woods on the Fan.
I would like to hear Woods sing Bohemian Rhapsody.
Mama, life is just begun, but now I've gone and thrown it all away. I see a little silhouette of a man. Scaramouche, will you do the fandango? Thunderbolts and lightning, very, very frightening me.
Listen to Ben and Woods weekdays from 6 to 10 a.m. on 97.3 The Fan.
If you'd like to sample the delicious food and flavors of the Mediterranean, visit Spiro's. Chris Ello here. Whether you order traditional gyro on pita or one of their kebab platters, you are not going to leave hungry when you eat at Spiro's Mediterranean cuisine. Generous portions that are as tasty as it gets. You'll find Spiro's in Coronado at Ferry Landing and in downtown La Jolla. Delicious, easygoing, and totally family-friendly. For dining, takeout, and catering options, visit spiroscuisine.com.
The biggest pro football contests in Vegas are back. Circa Survivor and Circa Million are now up to a record $16 million in guaranteed prizes. 2 ways to win and no rate. Circa Survivor contestants select one team each week with no point spread. Last the longest to win it all with $10 million guaranteed. In Circa Million, make 5 picks against the spread each week for your share of $6 million guaranteed through quarterly and full season payouts. Enter in Nevada. Play from anywhere. Visit circasports.com for details.
It's Kia's Summer Sticker Sales Event. You should be driving a Kia. You should be driving a Kia. From El Cajon Kia to Kia all alcohol. This summer's on us. 0 down, 0 payments until Labor Day, and a brand new Team Kia for under 20 grand. But they're going fast. New 24 Kia Soul LX, just $19,995, or get 2 for $222. 2024 Kia Soul LX, just $111 per month lease, or get 2 for $222. Rebates up to $9,000 and 0% for 60 months on every select new Kia in stock. All with a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited warranty. $11,500 off MSRP. Good or bad credit. First-time buyers. Bankruptcies. Even if you only have an I-10 and no social. Get a new Kia for under 20 grand. Only while supplies last at Team Kia of ElCajon.com. On approved credit, not all will qualify. Tax, title, license, and 150 title and registration processing fee. $39.95 due at signing. 24 months, 10,000 miles. Through KMF. Rebates and incentives to dealer. Offers not in combination. 2 to choose. EV6 expires 6/30/24.
Hey, it's Roger Moore, CEO of Loan Pronto. If you're like me, you're getting crushed by rising costs of everything these days. I get it. It's brutal, and credit card rates are ridiculous and going higher. That's why at Loan Pronto, we launched our Express Equity Line of Credit to bring you the relief you and your family need, using your home, your most valuable asset. We've helped thousands of people like you get fast relief with cash. The average homeowner who does this gets tens of thousands in just days and is able to save $850 per month in overall expenses. I'm talking life-changing money. Your money that you have access to right now. Listen, if you're ready to get control of your finances and get off the hamster wheel, call Loan Pronto. You can get approved for Express Equity Line of Credit in just minutes, and we can get your cash in less than a week. Stop digging a deeper credit card hole today. Call Loan Pronto now. 619-207-4336. 619-207-4336. LoanPronto.com. 619-207-4336.
Equal housing lender. NMLS 166-1781. Subject to lender approval. NMLS consumeraccess.org.
This is your 2-minute warning before we get back to Gwynn and Chris on 97.3 The Fan.
Some people just know safe drivers save more with Allstate. Just like they know that's the mating call of a blue-footed booby. And not a green-footed booby. Yeah, some people know that. And they know if you're a safe driver, you can save up to 40% with Allstate. Ain't that something?
Based on the national average premium savings for Allstate customers with a clean driving record versus those without. Savings vary by state and based on how you buy. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
4th of July appliance savings are happening now at the Home Depot, so upgrade with innovative appliance brands like GE Profile. Modernize your kitchen with a new GE Profile 4-door French door refrigerator with hands-free auto-fill dispenser. And with the GE Profile Ultra-Fast Combo Washer Dryer, you can tackle large loads in about 2 hours. Save up to $2,400 on select kitchen packages with 4th of July savings at the Home Depot. How doers get more done. Pricing valid June 19th through July 10th. U.S. only. See store or online for details.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-700-6898. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-700-6898. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-700-6898. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-700-6898. 800-700-6898 or biglou.com.
Pitch number 7 on the way, and Cronenworth swings, hits it in the air to deep right field. Way back, gonna go! For the 3rd consecutive game here at Petco Park, the Padres hit a walk-off home run. Higashioka and Merrill, and now Jake Cronenworth, who throws his helmet as he approaches home plate. The Padres beat the Brewers 7-6.
Excellent call. As always by Jesse Agler there, and to be able to work in the fact that, 3rd consecutive game that the Padres win at home on a walk-off home run. How rare is it? It's happened 3 other times in Major League history. So not too shabby. Not only that, never with all 3 home runs coming in the bottom of the 9th inning. A couple of those games happen in extra innings. So I guess if you're going game tonight, you're going to be upset if there's not a walk-off home run, Tony. I mean, we're going to become used to this. And, the thing is, this is the 9th one-run victory of the year for the Padres last night. And that's significant because last year, all season, they had 9. And they're not even to the halfway point. So we can say a lot of things about this team, but they are doing a much better job in clutch, tight situations this year.
Yeah, I mean, they're doing a better job for sure. I think, I don't know. I mean, this team is
we can't figure it out.
You can't. I mean, they have maybe things are starting to even out home and away. They've played better here at home. They've played worse on the road. Right-handed pitcher on the mound yesterday. Had that going for him.
Yeah, right.
They did some nice stuff yesterday offensively. They had some help. The lights ball that Yelich had to deal with and left, led to the Padres being able to tie the game, right? I think it was.
Yes, it was a big run, yeah.
And but ultimately they did what they had to do. Pitchers in this league still make mistakes, and we saw it last night. He had thrown. Payamps has been dirty. Been throwing that fastball, a couple different fastballs. Made the mistake with the breaking ball, and they got hit into the Chrome zone.
Yeah.
And, listen, the Padres, this is kind of what they've been doing all year long.
Yeah, they're going to win tonight for sure.
Yeah,
because they got to get to 500.
They're going to get back to 500,
and then we'll take our chances from there.
We'll see what happens after that.
Yeah,
but listen, that's I think ultimately, if we're being serious, and I know you guys have brought up the playoffs a couple times. If we're being serious about that, that is the starting point. You get to 500. A lot of good things can happen for you as long as you're there, just a little bit above.
Yeah, I mean, no team has really taken hold, of that 5th and 6th playoff spot, and it's early, as you keep saying, but I wouldn't mind being the team that takes a hold of one of those spots, right? I mean, win 10 out of 12. I keep begging for it, but I guess I'll continue to beg. It was an interesting game in a lot of ways last night. And I know that Cronenworth is the heroic finish to the game. Everyone's going to remember Tatis's home run, which almost knocked the scoreboard down in left field. I mean, absolutely a missile. Manny, gets the home run the opposite way, hits another couple of balls hard. And we're, of course, everybody's hoping that signals that these two guys are, well, Fernando's been doing it for a little while, but hopefully Manny's going to join him there. But to me, baseball always comes down, not always, but a lot of times, and especially a one-run game, comes down to plays that are made and plays that are not made. And that doesn't mean an error. It just means the top of the first inning when Manny makes an unbelievable stab on a shot down the line. Cronenworth digs out his throw. Arise digs out that throw. You couldn't get a better double play in terms of 3 guys all making great plays. And how many runs did that save? I mean, bases loaded, 1 out, the kid on the mound. Milwaukee might have scored 6-7 runs in that inning if they don't make that play, but instead they only get 1. And then in the bottom of the first, Terang kicks the ground ball. There's no error because you can't assume a double play, but man, he should have really never gotten a chance to bat, but he did.
Yep.
And that to me is the difference in the game right there in the first inning. So
that's how it works in the big leagues. Plays that are made, plays that are not made. And when you're in one of those games, and it doesn't mean that there's going to be a play not made or a play made, but if you're in one of those games and you end up not making one, and then or you end up making a play, and in the very next inning the other team doesn't make one.
Right.
That a lot of times is the difference in the ball game.
Yeah, got to give the Padres credit because they took full advantage of the opportunity. Right, man.
That's something they've been better at this year.
Yes.
A lot better this year. Because remember last year they were having these same opportunities, and none of them seemed like they happened. At least until like the last 2 weeks of the season when they ran off however many straight games they won.
Yeah. Well, anyway, look, it was a game that I felt was important to win because they did a lot of things really well, and had they let it slip away, this would have been one of those ones that hurt a little extra. But you know what, they didn't, and I know that Estrada kind of gets on the hook a little for he gave up the lead in the ninth, and Suarez wasn't available. Well, guess what? Estrada was pitching in his third game in a row, and he was willing to step up and. I don't think he took one for the team necessarily, Tony, but somebody had to pitch that ninth inning, and he got through it, kept them tied, and, he got a lot of credit from his manager after that game for being willing to step up in that situation, and I think that's important to note.
He definitely – these are the things that sometimes gets under my skin, right? Because I can already guarantee what would have happened if he would have been like, I can't go today.
Yeah.
Like – we would have been all over him. Maybe not as much Suarez because I think he's bought himself, some equity by showing up in the eighth inning on multiple occasions. But that would have been what the gripe was. And so instead he goes out there probably hanging,
Yeah.
Because I think he threw – it wasn't like he threw like 4 pitches on those other 2 appearances. He threw about, I think it was like 15 and 18.
Yeah, right.
In those 2 previous appearances, and he didn't have his best stuff, and it showed. And so he did step out there and tried to step up for his team. It didn't work out. Padres still picked him up on the backside, though.
Yeah, I appreciate Estrada last night, and let's also mention that he accomplished something last night that had never been done before
Another 3
in the major
strikeouts.
leagues. He struck out all 3 outs were strikeouts last night. It's the 3rd day in a row that he did that. No one has ever done that in history. This guy's done 2 things with strikeouts in the last month that have never before been done. So,
wait, what did he accomplish last night?
He struck out the side for 3rd consecutive appearance.
Oh,
3rd day in a row.
He loves the strikeout records.
He struck out 3 in a row on Tuesday. 3 in a row on Wednesday.
Okay.
And then the same yesterday.
Nice.
So he's doing things with that strikeout that are impressive. It was the other couple of things that I noticed about the game last night, Tony. Well, first of all, the Jackson Merrill thing is a weird statistic. I get it. He's 21, 22, and a young guy, center field, 6 home runs in 8 games. But I think that, to me, that would be something you could cherish when they put up on the scoreboard that you're now the only guy to do something along with Willie Mays. I got a kick out of that. And, what Jackson Merrill's doing right now is beyond what a lot of people expected he was going to do. And, give this young guy a lot of credit. He continues to just keep an even, steady pace about himself. But his confidence has got to be growing.
Yeah, in terms of the record, that's something certainly Jackson should cherish.
Yeah, exactly.
For the rest of us, I don't know that it really is all that. It's a weird stat.
Basically. Right, it is.
It's just not a lot of 20-year-olds playing in the big leagues, and certainly not a lot of them hitting home runs. So he should 100% cherish that, and that's something he should talk about forever.
Right.
But for me, he's still just being Jackson. He's just out there. He's hit a few more home runs, which is kind of, opened more people to what he's been doing, frankly, all season long. He's just adding the homer to it. He still is doing, what he's done all season long. He's right between about 275, 285. He's just kind of shifting back and forth in that area. Never going too low, never going too high. He's just steady, and that's a huge compliment for a 21-year-old kid playing in the big leagues, learning a new position. You can make the argument he has been the most consistent player, maybe outside of Jerickson, all season long.
Yeah,
like no one has been as consistent as Jackson has.
That's been doing it right. I mean, you just kind of put him in the lineup and forget about it, and he does his thing. So, the other thing that was interesting last night that I saw Kevin Acee pointed out in his notes column today, the one player in Major League Baseball who strikes out the least also walks the least. That player is Luis Arraez, and he did both things last night. He struck out and walked. Now, the walk in the first inning, this is his first walk in 51 at-bats or plate appearances. And I was thinking about it. This is not because he doesn't have a good eye, Tony, or any of that. It's because he hits the ball every time.
Yes.
He never swings and misses, so the count never gets deep against him, you know?
This, for me, is not a big deal. I mean, this is what I grew up watching. My dad didn't strike out a lot. He didn't walk a lot.
Yeah, right.
It has nothing to do with anything other than they put the ball in play. They got great bat-to-ball skill. And so pitches that a lot of guys would swing and miss at. I have a stat I had yesterday sent to me that Luis has the highest percentage of swings of pitches out above the zone, but he also has missed them the least of anybody in the big league.
He doesn't miss anything.
He just doesn't miss. His expansion of the zone is different than everybody else's because his intent is different than everybody else's when he's expanding the zone. So, yeah, man, you can make the mistake of kind of like being ho-hum about Luis because now we're getting to see him every day, and he pretty much is going to get 2 knocks a day, as it seems, and you could make the mistake of just kind of being bored with that. I advise you not. There isn't. Padres fans they're lucky. They get 2 guys actually in their lineup that are unicorns in terms of average and what they're doing in this game right now.
Yeah, well, it's fun, and it's fun when it comes in a win, and a sold-out crowd last night, and it was a great evening at the ballpark. Now, real quick, Tony, before you got to get going and get ready for the broadcast, the morning show just mentioned the topic. That's a better way of saying it, with Mike Schilt and his ejection from the game on Sunday, was it, in New York?
I think it was Sunday.
Last Sunday, yeah. He had got ejected after Manny Machado struck out. Now, the John Boy, what is it, a website or Twitter account?
He's just he's like a baseball content guy.
Right, but this guy is the master at reading lips, basically, and he puts out content that shows arguments like Schilt had with the umpire that day, and he fills in what we can't hear by reading lips. And turned out that Mike Schilt went out that day and asked to be thrown out of the game. Said, basically, I need to be thrown out of the game.
According to the lip reading?
According to the lip reading,
okay.
Right. Yes, that's right.
Okay.
And the umpire said, well, all right, do your thing. Like, go crazy.
Like,
and
Mike Schilt, dirt on me?
Right, and Mike Schilt said, I don't really feel like doing all that, according to the lip reading. And he said, I need to get kicked out here, and finally got kicked out. So, Tony, this is much ado about nothing in a lot of ways, if you ask me, because I think managers have been doing this forever, haven't they?
Yeah. Yes, they have. Every time a manager goes out there, they're not always irate and actually upset.
Yeah.
A lot of times they have to defend their player. And, sometimes there's really not much else on the bone to say, right? I mean, Manny let my man know what his issue was with his strike zone.
Yeah.
And he let him know in a very
boisterous way.
There you go. And so at that point, as a manager, you're coming out there to protect your guy. Do you really need to elaborate on what Manny just said if you already know, like, it's been taken care of? Like, so you're out there. You can just go out there, you can go back, or you can, push him to eject you. And that's what he decided to do. That has been happening for a very long time. We just didn't have lip readers in your mouth
to do it,
looking at everything you're saying.
Right. The question now becomes: are managers going to have to start going out to the umpire and cover their mouth when they argue with umpires?
They're going to have to put their arm around them and cuss them out that way so that no one can ever see it.
Yeah, might change the way things are handled. This hour on 97.3 The Fan brought to you by the San Diego County Fair. Let's go retro. San Diego County Fair now through July 7th. The magic of the Midway, live concerts, nostalgic celebration of fashion, culture, and more. Buy your tickets now online and learn more on what's happening at sdfair.com. Gwynn and Chris, that's happening. First hour in the books. More to come on 97.3 The Fan.
Annie from Annie and Elston.
We want to laugh and engage with Padres
be a promo as well.
It's time to get you up to speed on all things sports. Yes! With plenty of nonsense in between.
Oh, look! Here comes our fearless producer!
Gwynn and Chris starts right now on 97.3 The Fan.
And away we go with hour number 2 of Gwynn and Chris for finally it's a Friday, a Friar Friday if you missed our interview. One of my favorites we've done already so far this year, Matt Waldron joined us, the Padres right-hander, and some fun stuff and some very insightful stuff about the knuckleball and his journey to success here in the big leagues with the Padres. If you missed the first hour of the show or the interview or wanted to hear it, go back to our website, 973thefansd.com. It's always there for you. Download the Odyssey app. You can listen, rewind. If you like a particular question, you want to listen to it again over and over and over again. I know Skraby particularly liked the Phil Necro question.
Yes, I loved it.
So he gave me a hard time about that one. But, yeah, you can always listen to those interviews. Matt Waldron, it was particularly good today. Enjoyed that. Tony Gwynn Jr. getting ready for the game tonight, but he'll be rejoining us for the Big Five and our countdown segments, which are still to come on the program. Of course, Sam Levitt has the Padre pregame show getting underway shortly after 5:30 this evening. And it'll be Jesse and Scan, I believe,
yes,
on the radio broadcast tonight, with Tony heading over to TV with the famous Don Orsillo.
Yes.
I must say, and I'm not trying to be out of school here.
Uh-oh.
But I think it's one of the funnier optics after a Padre game is to ride down the elevator to street level with Don Orsillo.
Oh, name dropper.
I know. Yeah, right. Eric Grupner was on our elevator too.
Name
Scrape.
dropper.
Yeah, baby. I'm dropping all kinds of names. But anyway, I walk out. I'm kind of trailing Don Orsillo by a few yards. And it's just funny to see him making his way through the throng of people that are all leaving Petco Park.
Oh, how does he do that?
Don Orsillo he kind of puts his head down like a running back and just charges through the crowd in search of wherever his car is. It's it's an interesting optic because a lot of people I think want to, there's Don Orsillo. They love this guy, and he loves them. So he's trying to be nice to the fans and say hi and wave at everybody, but at the same time he's trying to get out of there.
I'm not putting myself on the same level as Don Orsillo, but I totally get it because after sometimes when we're done with broadcasts and stuff, people want to talk and that's fine. I will talk, but I had to go one day and I'm the guy who feels bad leaving a conversation.
Right.
But I can understand because I tried to sneak out.
It's funny because Don Orsillo, he looks like a running back. He kind of puts his head down with his arm out, cradling the football in the other arm.
Oh, Tyler says that
kind of making his way through the crowd to get out of the game, and the fans are like, Don Orsillo, and he's like, hi, how are you? Hey, I love you. Hey, great, thanks. And off he goes.
Tyler said that's exactly how I met him after a game one day. I stopped him to take a pic, and he was the nicest ever.
Yes, he's very nice, but he's in a hurry. He wants to go home.
I don't blame him.
Wants to go home. He's been there all day.
Yeah.
It's kind of a funny optic is all. Anyway, Don and Tony are on the TV side this weekend. All right, one quick subject before we get to the Daily Gambit. This is a subject which makes me go, eh.
Uh-oh.
Celtics had their championship
Why
parade
did you have to
today.
mention it?
I know. I'll mention it for a couple of reasons. One, Jason Tatum went out of his way to throw some shade on the Miami Heat today. They were the team that the Celtics beat in the first round, and he was asked before the parade by somebody from Boston, about beating the Heat, and saying that that's a team that's given you trouble in the past. And Jason Tatum said, oh, no, they're always easy. Well, they're always easy because Jimmy Butler wasn't playing the same way Donovan Mitchell wasn't playing in the second round, the same way Tyrese Halliburton got hurt in the third round. Anyway, I think the Celtics had a really lucky run to the NBA title, and you can't convince me any different.
That bothered you?
the whole thing bothered me that they had just it given to them basically because of injuries to Embiid and Giannis and Dame Lillard. And everybody else fell out of the way, and the Celtics cruised in, and everybody's like, this is the greatest team of all time. No, they're not. Maybe if they win 4 or 5 championships, get back to me. But until
then... Well, they won
18, so... Not this team. Not this group. All right. Anyway, they had their thing. The one thing I do like about the Boston celebrations, and they've had more of them than any other city.
Yeah, I know.
Since 2000, thanks mostly to the Patriots, but the Red Sox won a bunch, the Celtics. The one thing I do like about the Boston celebration parades is that they use those duck boats.
Oh, that's cool.
Those are just a blast. If you've ever
I've never actually been on one.
Yeah, if you go to Boston, to me, it's a must. Because some people don't like, like the city tour. Yeah. Some people like it, but some people are like, I'm not going on any city tour. Those are boring. Yeah. They're boring in a lot of cities. But in Boston, there's actually a lot of history in that city.
So much history.
Right. So a city tour
Love Boston.
And being on the duck boat, you go in and out of the water. Anyway, it's worth your time.
That's crazy. I need to get on a duck boat. I do.
You will enjoy it. If you go to Boston, reserve a spot on the duck boat. All right, let's see how we did. Winners, losers, Daily Gambit.
Do you like money?
I think about money a lot.
Do you like money without doing anything?
Winning.
Do you want to make money while watching sports?
I think Washington is immortal luck.
Washington! Woohoo! If you answered yes, this is your segment. Just don't blame us when you lose.
Well, nothing is ever your fault.
It's your game. Take it.
Gwynn and Chris go through the top bets of the day in The Daily Gambit on 97.3 The Fan.
Daily Gambit is our daily sports betting segment here on Gwynn and Chris. Please, everybody, gamble responsibly. Did Jimmy Butler win the title a few years ago? Or
they didn't win it.
Yeah,
he got into the finals 2 years ago against Denver.
I was going to say, Jason Tatum shouldn't talk trash because no one is going to remember 6 months from now that the Celtics won this title because no one watched any of this.
Did you see the ratings? Were they bad?
I haven't seen the ratings, but
I can't imagine they were very good because the games weren't very good.
They were like 35-point blowouts.
I agree. It wasn't a great NBA Finals by my estimation, and I agree with you as well. Jimmy Butler has beaten Jason Tatum a couple of different times.
He has,
so for
and
him
he's more
to just,
exciting.
I like Jimmy Butler better also. There you go.
All right. I did find an article on the ratings, but we'll get to that later. Liberty minus 14.5 over the LA Sparks last night. You chose Liberty. I chose the Sparks. Liberty did win, Chris, but they did not cover because they won by 13, 93-80. So Sparks cover on that one.
I'm heartbroken by that.
Brianna Stewart versus Sabrina Ionescu. Who is going to have more points in this game? You said Sabrina Ionescu. I said Brianna Stewart. And Ionescu had more points. 31 points to Brianna Stewart's 17 points.
Big night for Ionescu.
Yes,
yeah,
big
31.
Night.
Both of them are going to be on the Olympic team, though. That is a potent duo in the WNBA.
So gold medal coming our way?
I don't have a scouting report on the rest of the world, but usually the U.S. women's team is pretty good. I do know that they had the first WNBA balloting or numbers out for the All-Star vote. Who do you think leads in all of the WNBA in votes?
Has to be Caitlin Clark.
It is.
Yeah, okay.
This is the whole thing. Everybody wants to try to find all this fault with Caitlin Clark. Stop it. She is beloved, and there's nothing wrong with that, and it's also not her fault. She just wants to play. She's a pretty good player. For a rookie, she's having a hell of a season. And I wish, people would stop all the controversy. That's all. Enjoy what we've got.
Don't tell the person that replied to me on Twitter today because I saw Angel Reese. I think it was Angel Reese. She was like double dribbling all over the place.
That wasn't Angel Reese. It was another player.
Okay. I just saw the one leg warmer thing, and I thought maybe it was her.
No.
But so the person replied to me because I said, aha, look at this dribble. And the guy's like, it's people like Caitlin Clark are now forcing these clips down my timeline all the time now, like women's basketball. Bleh. It's like, dude, and I said this to him. It's a lot to take from one clip, bro.
Yeah.
But calm down.
If you didn't see the clip, it was pretty funny. There was a shot of a girl, a woman in the WNBA, dribbling down the floor, and she picked up the ball and put it back down on the floor 3 times.
She did.
It should have been triple-double dribble.
Yes, it should have
and
been.
And the referees,
something.
for some reason, didn't see it or call it or anything.
My thing is, like, if you don't like the WNBA, don't watch it.
That's right.
I don't get it.
Nobody's making you watch it.
Yes.
But it's better than it's ever been before.
I've been engaging.
And a lot of us are enjoying it.
I've been engaging with people way too much lately and got called a Bay Area bozo yesterday. So
Bay Area bozo.
I did. Thank you, Brandon, for
Very
reminding
accurate.
me.
Whoever said that.
Brewers were favored in the game last night, -1.5 on the run line. You chose the Padres. I was so down on the Padres, I couldn't choose the Padres, so I chose the Brewers.
Yeah.
You were correct because the Padres won 7-6.
And I put down here that you took Milwaukee, parentheses, sorry. You were sorry about making that
that's
pick.
right. I was sorry
Yes.
about making it, but
You
it
took
worked
Milwaukee,
out.
sorry.
Now, the next one was who's going to have more innings pitched, Bryce Wilson or Adam Major? I can't remember who you chose, but I chose Bryce Wilson. And did you choose Bryce Wilson?
No, I went with the
Major?
kid. I went with the kid.
They went exactly the same
Yes,
amount.
they did. It
4
was a
and
push.
2/3.
Both
Yes.
went 4 2/3 innings. I really felt bad for Major. He needed one more out to get through the 5th inning with a 4-1 lead, and he would have been in line for his first major league win. And then Adames hit the 2-run homer off him.
Yeah.
And then they took him out of the game. So that was it. He didn't
All
even
I could-
qualify for a win at that point.
All I could think about last night when he hit that home run was that you said he's on fire recently. And then
He has
at the
been.
end of the game, when Jeremiah Straw struck him out, I was like, man, he's going to just mow through this right now. He did. But anyway, they got a win.
It all ended up all right.
All right, final one was the Giants and the Cardinals at Rickwood Field in Birmingham, Alabama. The Giants were -1.5 on the run line. You chose the Giants. I chose the Giants. We both were wrong because the Cardinals won 6-5.
Well, we were going with the Willie Mays angle there.
Yes,
Nothing
we
wrong
were.
with that.
Yes.
But it seemed by and large to be a very successful evening down in Birmingham.
It did, yeah.
People seem to really
I was
like
watching
it.
the game. There was good home runs. I mean, the only thing it doesn't matter. It was
Okay.
something that happened after the game, and I've already been so negative today. I don't need to be any more
You're
negative.
not going
Chris.
there?
No, let's go forward.
Let's go forward indeed. All right, one game earlier today on the scoreboard, the Mets clubbed the Cubs 11-1. That's the only day baseball at Wrigley
At
Field.
least the Mets are playing well.
The Mets have come right back into the race, and that's what I was saying. You were kind of on Steve Cohen there, a month or so ago, saying, "Is this guy got his head on right?" And all he was saying was, we can still win this year. And you know what? All they did was win 7 in a row, which in this National League is all you need to do.
It's huge
because the Mets are right back in the middle of the race.
I think the
like
Cardinals
that.
are also 500 now.
They are. Cardinals have gotten back to 500.
And they started the season terribly.
Yes, they did. So it's anybody's game except if you're named the Rockies or the Marlins. Other than that, everyone's got a shot right now. Speaking of the Rockies, they're home to the Nationals today at Coors Field. This line caught my eye. Over under 11 runs.
Ooh.
That's a big number.
That is.
Dakota Hudson's pitching for the Rockies.
It's at Coors?
Of course, it's at Coors, yes. Dakota Hudson, DJ Hers, a left-hander, young lefties pitching for the Nats. The Nats come to San Diego after this. Your guy now, this may change your whole outlook. Nolan Jones is back in the Rockies lineup tonight.
Oh, my goodness.
After sitting out for months and months with a stressed hangnail, I believe he had.
No, yeah, he did have a stress. The guy had a knee, or he had a back injury that got put him on the IL.
This always gets Skraby going.
The 10-day IL for about 55 days, and then he comes back, and he has a stomach bug, and goes back on the IL.
You can't stand it.
Never mind.
How about
Too negative
this?
today.
How about this from Sam Blum tweeting out today? Mike Trout spoke to reporters just now. He acknowledged that his recovery from the meniscus surgery is going a little slower than he wants. He hasn't started running yet and doesn't have a timeline to return.
I was thinking about this Big Five question, and I didn't
Poor
want to
Mike
ask
Trout.
it. I didn't want to ask it because I didn't want to pile on Mike Trout. But is it actually Because everybody makes fun of the Angels as being a terribly run organization. Artie Moreno does weird things.
Maybe some of it you could put on Mike Trout, is what
And
you're
Anthony
saying.
Rendon. Those
Yeah.
two guys are making a ton of money, and they never play.
And the Angels get all of the grief for that, yet how are they supposed to know that Anthony Rendon just doesn't really like
Wanna
playing
play?
baseball all that much?
I know.
You know, I mean, that was, they gave him $300 million only to find out he didn't really like playing
He wants
too
to play
much.
less. All right, so
I'll go
over,
over.
under. Yes, I'll
after
go
all
over
that
2.
discussion.
I'll go over 2.
Okay, Padres 1.5 runs over the Brew Crew tonight. So the Padres are favored tonight. Are you gonna stick with the Brewers, or are you gonna go back to the Friars? Dylan Cease is on the hill. It's not been pitching great
No, he
lately.
has not. I'm gonna go with the Brewers just to keep what I did last night.
You're gonna hope for that's one of those
Jinx
jinx
picks.
bets.
Yes.
All right, then I took the Padres last night. I'll take them again, and hope that we can keep the good vibes going.
Keep the good vibes.
All right, who
going.
gets more outs tonight? It's a tricky one. Chris Paddock against the A's in Oakland.
Okay.
Remember old Chris Paddock, our
Yeah.
friend?
Yeah.
He's still pitching for the Twins.
He's been decent.
Been
at
okay
points
this year. Is he going to pitch longer tonight in Oakland, or Colin Ray for the Brewers here in San Diego? So you're betting on Paddock or Colin Ray. Who's going to have more innings pitch? I'm going with Paddock because I still like old Chris Paddock. Did you mean to go?
Yes, that was my sheriff thing. I'll just wait until we get to our nicknames.
Yeah, Chris Paddock. I mean, is there ever a guy more beloved in San Diego that disappeared from the scene quicker than Chris Paddock?
Franmil Reyes?
Franmil, a little bit, yeah.
All right, I'm going to go with Chris Paddock as well.
Go with Paddock, too. All right, the Stanley Cup Finals continue tonight. Florida once led 3-0. Now it's 3-2.
Uh-oh, pressure.
And they are in Edmonton, where the Oilers are looking to build on their momentum. Edmonton is favored by 1.5 goals. Is this the night that the Panthers get the cup, or does Edmonton push it to 7 games? Or is it a 1-goal game, which is you have to factor into your bet here as well? Edmonton by 1.5.
I think Edmonton wins the game, but Florida wins the bet.
You think it's going to be a 1-goal game?
Yes. I think that Edmonton on their home ice does not go down in defeats.
I'm going to take Florida also. I see maybe a double overtime thriller tonight.
Like a 15-14 type game?
No, I don't think so, but I think it'll still be double overtime, and there'll be a lot of drama. I'm looking forward to Game 6 of the Stanley Cup Finals tonight. Who makes more saves? The goalie for Florida, Sergei Bobrovsky, or the goalie for Edmonton? His last name is Skinner. I think it's, I don't know, Stewart.
Principal
something
Skinner?
Like, I can't think of his first name offhand, so you just have to go with that.
Who makes more saves? Well, I think Edmonton's going to win the game, so I'll say the Edmonton goalie makes more saves.
No, you mean, the Edmonton goalie makes more saves. So you're going with Skinner.
Skinner!
I will say that Bobrovsky makes more saves.
So Florida.
Because I think the Edmonton's going to fire more shots at him.
Good point.
That's my thinking.
Good point.
And then one more tomorrow afternoon. Game 1 of the College World Series Finals is upon us.
Oh, who we got?
We have Braden Surprenant, or actually his brother, Matt Surprenant, who is always, by the way, begging me for a shout-out on the show.
Is he?
So here you go. Matt Surprenant's Tennessee Vols.
Oh, yes, Tennessee.
Ranked number 1 in the nation. Braden's brother went to Tennessee. They're taking on the Texas A&M Aggies. It's an all-SEC showdown. Tennessee's the number 1 seed. A&M is the 3 seed. Tennessee's favored by 1.5 runs in Game 1. So I'll take, because I really like Matt Surprenant. He's a nice kid, plays on my softball team, but he's a little cocky for a young guy. And he thinks his Vols are all that. I'll take Texas A&M plus the 1.5. How do you like that,
You know what?
Matt Surprenant? And by the way, Matt Surprenant, you just got like 5 shout-outs.
Yes, you did get 5 shout-outs.
Right?
You know what? My cousin went to Texas A&M.
Uh-huh.
So I'm going to pick Texas A&M too.
No, we're both going with the Aggies. Game 1 tomorrow.
Yeah.
All right, we'll take a break, check some traffic. More Gwynn and Chris on the way.
Hold on.
Hurry.
Hold on. Gotta
Come
get the
on,
music
quick
to
hands.
Stop. All right.
Gotta have quick hands over there.
Here is traffic.
From the
So he steps in to fix the problem at hand before it gets out of hand.
All right, welcome back to the show. 3:26 is the time. Tony rejoins us for our weekly countdown segment. Going to be a trip down memory lane, some of the great nicknames in sports. Think you'll enjoy. That's coming up shortly. Got some good news here, Skraby.
I like good news. I've been in such a bad mood.
About a story that could have been bad news, but fortunately it's all right, at least for now.
Okay.
Hall of Fame running back Barry Sanders said in a statement posted to social media today that he experienced a heart-related health scare last weekend. Sanders did not offer any details on the exact nature of the condition, but he described the experience as unexpected and a reminder of the importance of staying vigilant about our physical well-being. We just talked about that in the SD Fat Loss commercial. Stay vigilant. He said, even when we're feeling fine, things can happen. Barry Sanders only turns 56 next month, so it's a good reminder. He's a young man, but he says he's taking this opportunity to prioritize his health and well-being. I think everybody knows the history of Barry Sanders, 6-time All-Pro, top rusher in the football when he was there, 15,000 yards for his career. And I don't know, did anybody make more exciting runs with a football than Barry Sanders? I can't think of anyone. Maybe Gale Sayers did, and that's before my time. Who?
The Amoeba, isn't that his nickname?
Was it?
There was someone who was nicknamed the Amoeba.
If his wasn't that would have been a pretty good nickname.
Because
you'd reach out for Barry Sanders and you couldn't grab him.
Oh, no, I was saying that Gale Sayers was the Amoeba.
Gale Sayers might have been the Amoeba.
Let me see.
Anyway, some of the greatest runs in the history of football were produced by Barry Sanders. I don't think there's any argument there.
No, you're right.
So get well, Barry Sanders. Sounds like he's okay, but it was a scare indeed. All right, you had mentioned before we got to get to the break, but just to wrap up the NBA championship parade today, the Celtics had the ratings for the NBA Finals. Were they good or not? Because I thought it was a lousy series.
Me too. But really what I could tell you, Chris, is that my theory that the series was so boring no one was watching, it didn't really have that much of an impact. They were down like 1 million viewers from last year in certain.
That's not that significant.
If they're going to take Game 5, say for example, which is the one that the Celtics clinched,
wrapped it up,
they only lost 1 million viewers over the year before, which is not a big deal. So,
well, it sounds like.
I mean, 1 million people is a lot, but the article I read doesn't seem like they're worried about it at all.
I mean, last year, last year was Denver and Miami. Those aren't exactly, the biggest cities.
No, they're not.
Boston and Dallas are bigger cities than that. The Celtics are one of the marquee franchises. I think for the ratings to be down is somewhat significant and should be of concern to the NBA.
I would like to see...
Like maybe get the Celtics the hell out of the finals next year so we can put somebody in there we want to watch.
I think we should take the Dallas Mavericks out.
Take them out, yeah.
Yeah, because they didn't
Maybe it was
show
the
up.
Mavericks' fault.
Yeah, but I really thought it was going to be worse. I thought there was going to be like significant declines in viewership.
To me, 1 million is, but I know what you mean. In the grand scheme, it's a small percentage point or two.
Yeah.
All right. There we have that. Did you find out anything on the amoeba?
No, I didn't.
You didn't.
That would have been good for a nickname, though. Now I'm coming up with all these nicknames.
Now everything's a nickname.
Now all these nicknames are coming to my mind.
Well, you'll see why when we come back with our countdown segment next on Gwynn and Chris.
Ben and Wood.
Padres, Brewers coming up tonight. Game 2.
Sorry, Chris. Chris just did a brilliant open.
Oh, man, was it good.
And I didn't have his button.
Well, my button wasn't pushed properly.
No.
You know what,
Sorry
Skraby?
about that, Chris.
You always push my buttons.
Oh, yes, I do.
But not that time.
No.
Not that time.
Sorry
All right.
about that.
Yes, tonight is game 2, but tomorrow is the exact halfway point of the season.
That's
for
crazy.
the Padres. How about that?
That is crazy.
They need to win both tonight and tomorrow.
Did I think they would be below 500 when we hit the halfway point? No, I did not.
Well, they're going to need to win tonight and tomorrow in order to be 41-40 at the halfway point. So in order to do that, they got to win first tonight. Dylan Cease will be on the mound. Colin Ray, former Padre, by the way, pitching for the Brew Crew. And by the way, Brew Crew is a nickname.
It is.
For the Brewers.
That is true.
It's one of the better nicknames, actually. And it's one of the few nicknames. There just aren't nicknames anymore, but there was a time and a place where nicknames ruled the world.
Yes. Yeah.
And for that reason, we go to some nicknames after traffic for today's countdown.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by Valvoline Instant Drive-Thru Oil Change, your trusted instant drive-thru oil change. Got a couple of problems along southbound 5. One of them is a stalled vehicle partially blocking the transition ramp to the eastbound 54. Quidel and Quidel traffic cam shows further down just before Palm Avenue an accident in the center divide. Still clearing an accident eastbound 8 past College. Couple vehicles involved. That is now over to the right shoulder. Stop by any of the 30 San Diego Valvoline Instant Oil Change Centers. You don't have to get out of your car. It usually only takes 15 minutes or less. Plus, get a free courtesy check of your tires and battery. Visit SoCalOilChange.com for directions and discounts. SoCalOilChange.com. I'm Kelly Danick with Gwynn and Chris, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
It's now time for Gwynn and Chris to rank their top 5 of the day.
Gonna grip and rip as usual.
But this isn't just a regular top 5 list.
I love it. It sounds sadistic, but I love it.
This is the countdown. And it starts right now on 97.3 The Fan.
All right, every week we pick a topic. We count it down from 5 to 1, our favorite 5 on the particular subject of the day. And today, our countdown, with the passing of Willie Mays, the Say Hey Kid, got me thinking about great baseball nicknames. And before we get to our list, I did want to say that I think this day and age of baseball loses a little bit of its luster.
For sure.
Because there just aren't nicknames. And,
for sure.
You know, when you can go back, but I mean, it's incredible some of the just wonderful nicknames that not only players had, Tony, but how about teams? You can go see the Cardinals play. I'll go see the Gas House Gang. You want to see the Phillies? I'll go see the Whiz Kids. You want to go see the Reds? I'd rather see the Big Red Machine or the Miracle Mets.
Who was Murderers Row?
Murderers Row. That was the Yankees. The 20s. Yeah. I mean, those the Pittsburgh Pirates were the lumber company. I mean, come on. I mean, these are great names. You know, legendary, make you bigger than life. And I think a nickname had a lot to do with that. And I'd like to see that come back a little bit more in baseball. But anyway, that is our countdown today. Our top 5 favorite nicknames. Skraby, you ready to go?
Yes, I am, sir.
All right. Is this going to be Giant-centric?
No. There's actually no Giants on there. But
I thought you were going to get Kung Fu Panda in there.
I was going to, but I decided not to because it's not that good of a nickname. But
I think it's a good nickname.
Shout out to Pablo Sandoval, Kung Fu Panda.
All right, didn't make your list. All right.
No, but my number 5 and number 4, it's just strange how it worked out. I'm just seeing this. But Pete Alonso, have no idea why he's called the Polar Bear. It's just a cool nickname, I think.
Have you seen the guy? He's a big,
he doesn't look like
white
a polar
guy.
Bear. He's a big white guy.
He's a big white guy.
I know.
That's all you need to know.
Is that really why they call him Polar Bear?
I would think.
I don't know why they call
I mean,
him
that's
polar
got to
bear.
be it because he's from Florida. It's not like it's cold
Yeah,
there.
he's not like a cold weather guy or anything like that.
Big white guy.
But I remember when I first heard his nickname was the polar bear, I
didn't
couldn't
know-
get
you
over
didn't
it.
get
I
it.
didn't believe it, but
Okay.
it is, and I think it's hilarious.
Well,
My
I like-
list is not going to be great, guys.
I think
Just
that's a
wanna
good
let you
one.
know.
I think that's a good one. Nothing wrong with that. Tony, go ahead.
Oh, there's so many.
Yeah, there really are.
Really, really, really good nicknames. I'm gonna start. Man, where do I want to go? How about we go with prime time?
Oh, Deion Sanders. He's a baseball player.
He is.
It was. I mean, it could go higher on the list, really, but it's just the first one that came to my head.
Yeah.
I mean, when he was prime time and they had the NFL show after the games were over on Sunday called Prime Time, and he would, and for the year of the 49ers, it was great because he ran like about 4 interceptions back. And so you got to hear prime time from Chris Berman.
Getting chills right now.
Yeah, that's one of the best nicknames.
That is a great
Very,
one.
very good, Tony. All
That
right,
is a
I'm going to
good
go. Mine are all baseball. And here's one that was when I was a kid, and I just thought this was a great nickname. He was a pitcher for the Oakland A's. His name was John Blue Moon Odom. And I don't really know where that came from, but it just sounded masterful to me. He just sounded like, I mean, you know, back in the day when games were only on the radio, Blue Moon Odom was bigger than life for me. He was kind of just an ordinary pitcher if you look up his career stats, maybe won 100 games for the A's, but
Blue Moon Odom.
Blue Moon Odom I thought was a great nickname, so he sneaks in there at number 5 for
I
me.
love those players, though. Everybody has that one player that they think was a legendary player. Then you look up your
Yeah,
stats.
it
When you're
wasn't
an
any
adult.
big deal, but
Yeah, it was
I
great.
thought Blue Moon Odom was special when I was a kid.
Number 4.
I hope he's getting money off of that beer.
The beer that's called Blue Moon?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Should.
We'll have to check into that. That's something really important that we need to do.
Okay. My number 4 is actually going to see if this career went better. The trajectory was there, but the nickname for Chris Paddock, the Sheriff, was awesome.
Like that one.
No, it wasn't. No.
Didn't
was
like it, Tony. Didn't like it.
awesome.
No.
But his career path did not follow the awesome nickname, so he's no longer the Sheriff in my eyes. But do you remember when Adam that one time came and poked his head in our studio and said, "Happy Paddock Day," and then he would come in and be like, "The Sheriff's on the mound tonight, guys." And I'm saying this because Adam's on vacation; he's not listening right now. But anyway,
Yes,
I think
to
it's a
answer
good
your
one.
question.
I think
thought
it's a
that
good one.
was
Tony didn't like it, but I think that
It's
was.
okay.
I thought it was.
It's okay.
At least it was a nickname for a current player,
He
which
also
we don't
gave
have too many of.
himself that nickname. I
That's
believe.
why I didn't like it.
Yeah, you can't give yourself a nickname.
You can't give yourself a nickname, man.
But the fans did latch on. But
Until
you're
they
right.
didn't.
Yeah, you're right
Until
about
they
that
were
too.
mad at me.
You're right about that too.
Yeah, nicknames are only as good as the player sometimes.
Exactly.
All right, Tony, who you got for number 4?
I'm gonna slide into the baseball category as well. Dave Parker, aka the Cobra.
Oh, very good. Yeah, the Cobra.
Now I don't know. Nobody really knows why he was named the Cobra. He did have lightning, bad speed. He had like a cannon, so maybe it
Cannon
was
for an arm,
something to do with that. It could have been the way he waggled his bat, but the Cobra. That's a quality.
There's a lot of
is.
talk in
That
Pittsburgh
is.
right now about him getting into the Hall of Fame, and a lot of people think he deserves to be there. And he has been, he's had to deal with a really, really deteriorating disease, Parkinson's. Yeah, and it was sad to see Dave Parker out at a ball game, looking, a shell of his former self, because he was quite the hulking figure. All right, my number 4 is a guy that nobody knows, recognize this guy. His name is Walt Williams. Played for the Chicago White Sox and the Cleveland Indians. He was mostly a fourth outfielder, but he had one of my favorite nicknames of all time growing up, and if you ever look at a picture of this guy, it'll make you laugh. His nickname is Walt No Neck Williams. And
no neck.
He had his head just laid on his shoulders, basically. So Walt No Neck Williams, I thought that was a fun nickname. for a guy that I saw when I was I didn't see him much because
Confirmed, he does not have a neck.
no, well, let's see. Wouldn't have got the nickname otherwise, but I just thought that was a fun one. Walt No Neck Williams. That was some of the fun that they had back in the day.
That's good stuff.
Okay.
Number 3.
My number 3 is actually a serious one, and I didn't grow up even watching the guy play, but I knew about this guy growing up as a young baseball fan. Mr. October is an incredible nickname, mainly because you're playing in the World Series all the time, and you're so good in the World Series that they call you Mr. October. So Reggie Jackson's nickname, high on my list.
Yeah, it's up there, and he certainly earned it with his performances in those World Series. Tony, for number 3.
Some of the NBA nicknames in the late 90s, I think, are some of the best. And I'll start with The Answer, Allen Iverson.
Yeah, good.
Good nickname. There's a slew of them that I'm about to give you. The next 3 are probably going to come from basketball. I might change my mind, but we'll start there. The Answer.
All right, The Answer, Allen Iverson. Never really got the explanation. Did you ever hear any kind of a story with that nickname, Tony? Or I didn't really, other than that he had the answer for any defense you played. I guess that was it.
That was it.
Yeah.
The answer.
That was it. All right, number 3 for me is one of my favorite of the newer age baseball nicknames, Hall of Famer. Skraby and I like to drop his name because we ran into him at the hotel in Cooperstown.
Oh, yes.
He was signing in at the registrar, and they did not know who Frank Thomas was.
That's correct.
Big Hurt. I just think that's such a great descriptive nickname because, I mean, when the Big Hurt was up there and you laid a fastball in there, that's what he did to it. So I thought that was a very descriptive one. I liked it. The Big Hurt. Number 3.
Number 3.
All right, number 2, Scrub.
All right,
now
I'm researching different nicknames, but my number 2 is going to be Frank Gore, The Inconvenient Truth. Love that nickname for Frank Gore.
The Inconvenient Truth?
Yes, that's his nickname.
He was named after an Al Gore movie?
Oh my goodness, you're right. He is, but yes, The Inconvenient Truth is amazing just because I have no idea what it means, and that Frank Gore probably, has no idea what it means, but it just sounds cool. My original number 2, because I went on Baseball Reference, had no idea that Nolan Arenado was nicknamed Sandblaster. Did you guys know that?
I didn't, but
No.
Baseball Reference will give you all of that.
Yeah,
Yes,
they're all
it
in there.
does.
I didn't know that one. Sandblaster.
Anyway, my number 2 was actually The Inconvenient Truth.
Okay, Tony Gwynn Jr.
How about The Glove? Gary Payton.
Oh, man. It's just so descriptive, right?
It's descriptive. I
Yeah.
mean, soon as they said The Glove, even at the age I heard, I was like, oh, that's because his defense. It's clearly because of that. And sure enough, I mean, good. Again, late 90s is when he probably acquired that. It might have been earlier. I know he
Middle
came in
90s because he went up against Jordan in the 96 finals.
So
when
he
he
was early
with
90s
Seattle.
then, you're right.
And the Glove said he was going to put the clamps on Jordan, and you know what that did to Jordan.
It lasted for about a game. And then
Maybe a half a game, and then Jordan shook loose of the Glove, and things changed. But, yeah, that's a great descriptive one. All right, here's one for a baseball player who honestly could not play in the game today. He would strike out without ever getting to step into the batter's box. And the reason for that is that Mike Hargrove used to take so long between pitches to get ready to come into the batter's box that his nickname was appropriately the human rain delay. Mike Hargrove.
Wasn't that then given to Steve Traxel?
Traxel got some of it. I think Ted Leitner started calling him the human rain delay.
Maybe it was Ted that
Traxel
gave
took
that to him.
forever. But Hargrove was the original human rain delay. I mean, step out of the box, adjust
That's a good
everything.
one.
So.
That's a good one.
Okay.
Number 1.
I really wanted to say my number 1. I just don't think I can give O.J. Simpson the number 1 spot on my list, guys. The Juice, that's a pretty good nickname. Chris is like...
Yeah, I think you should go elsewhere.
Okay, then I will go with my other number 1, which... There's a picture that floats around Twitter. It's like one of those old school MLB accounts where they put out pictures of older players, and it just is fun to look at. But there's a guy named George Hackett, and his nickname is Fatty. And if you look at his picture,
His nickname is what?
Fatty. If you look at his picture, he is definitely
It's a Major League Baseball player back in the day?
Yes, he's a Major League. He played back in like the 1900s or something, but he played for the Philadelphia Citizens, and there you go, Chris.
Oh, my God!
he's 400 pounds.
He looks like the Pillsbury Doughboy.
Philadelphia Citizens.
The Citizens.
Yeah. Oh, he says his weight in this picture is 450 pounds, but they called him Fatty. So, they didn't pull any punches back then.
He should be happy that they only called him Fatty. They could have come up with something
They got
worse
right
than
to
that.
the point.
Yeah. So there's my number one.
All right. Tony, finish us off, or your list.
Oh, man.
Great sports nicknames. So many of them.
There are a lot of them. I had one we talked about descriptive nicknames, and you just knew it when you heard it. How about Jason Williams' White Chocolate?
That's awfully good.
I mean, it was self-explanatory. You saw this dude on the hoop court, and you heard the nickname White Chocolate. Oh, yeah, I get it. Yep, that makes perfect sense.
I will tell anybody out there that likes to watch old videos on YouTube of really, really good plays in the NBA, you can do a whole lot worse than calling up a video of White Chocolate. That guy
100%.
made some unbelievable plays.
He did some stuff in the game that you should not be able to do.
He was unreal. I mean,
the around the back pass off the elbow back to the direction he started it from.
He had some amazing moves on the floor during games, and I know it was in the Sports Center era.
Yeah,
I just don't remember seeing it and being reminded of what Jason Williams could do with the basketball. He was a great ball handler.
Yeah,
no question about it. All right, I have a million that were runners up, and
me too.
you could baseball to me is still the glory spot for nicknames, and I was thinking of, if I was pitching, I'd love to throw a pitch to a guy named Pudge. And I'd love to have my first baseman be named Stretch. And if they hit a ground ball to the left side of the infield, I'd like the Wizard and the human vacuum cleaner over there to get it.
Oh, the human vacuum cleaner. That's a
I
great
mean,
one.
so many of them out there. But
basketball and baseball definitely rival each other.
Yeah, they do. But I'm gonna go with number one today. And it's could change if I did the list next week. And I know his name is Dirt in Major League Baseball, but I don't think it should be. I think time has gone. We should forgive him.
Hustle.
But I think Charlie Hustle is one of the greatest nicknames of all time. Pete Rose. And,
that's a good one.
Just looking, this guy loved to play the game so much, Tony. When the ball four wouldn't even be to the home plate, and he'd already be standing on first base when he got a walk. Nobody loved the game and exuded the joy of the game. And I thought Charlie Hustle was a great nickname.
Kind of presumptuous of him to think it was going to be ball four. So.
Well, he had bet on it, so.
Oh! Wow, you get ready. You just get done saying how much you love the guy.
I did love the guy, but he made some mistakes for sure.
He made some mistakes.
All right.
How about the hick from French Lick?
Oh, Larry
Bird.
One. Yeah.
What did you think of
Did you
Toby's
think he
nicknames?
liked that one, the hick from Franklin?
I don't know if
French
Larry
Lick?
liked it. Black Mamba was awesome.
That is awesome.
Described Kobe Bryant perfectly.
Yeah. So many great nicknames. I wish they'd bring a lot
How
of
about
them
the
back.
human highlight reel?
Oh, that's a good one,
Dominique.
too.
Dominique.
What
Yeah.
was Jordan's?
Air.
That's a good one,
Just
too.
simple. Yeah. No, but they got to bring nicknames back.
They do.
Bring them back to sports. We're missing
I think
that.
we know too much about these guys now.
That's true.
Yeah.
So we can't have a lot of nicknames we just they got, and then we just made up why they got it. Right now, we know too much about them.
Yeah. All right, little trip down memory lane on today's countdown. Hope you enjoyed. Coming up, Chris versus the fans. Dial in to play some trivia, 833-288-0973.
97.3 The Fan.
Rolling into the 4 o'clock hour on Gwynn and Chris. Hope you enjoyed our countdown, some of our favorite nicknames. I know a lot of people contributed on the chat during that segment.
Got some great ones.
Yeah, I mean, top 5 really doesn't do it justice.
No,
You kind of got to do like a top 100.
Especially since I put Chris Paddock in my top 5.
Now
I
you're
told you my list was going to be bad.
Now you're upset with that yourself?
Yeah, I am.
You had the polar bear, Pete Alonso.
My list was awful.
I could counter with the penguin.
I saw that, but I don't know who that guy is, so I couldn't put him on the list.
Played third base on the Garvey Dodgers back in the day. The penguin. And that's a good nickname for him. He did kind of waddle around the bases like the penguin. I don't think he made that noise
when he was running to
as
first.
He ran around, but Ron says a pretty good ball player back in the day. Nicknames are missing from sports. You know,
like what is Toddy? Toddy is Fernando Tatis Jr. is now Toddy. I guess
Manny Machado is Manny. I don't know. What
he is El Ministro.
El Ministro de Defensa.
Yes, the Minister of Defense.
I don't know. There's some more glory in the older nicknames for whatever reason.
Well, I mean, they made sense, like George Fatty Hackett.
I don't know where you drummed that one up from.
I
but
see that picture constantly.
Really? I've
on Twitter.
Never saw
all
it
the
before.
time.
Never saw it before. All right. We're going to get into some Chris versus the fans. Before we do, I want to thank Matt Skraby. Well, first I want to thank the morning show. Ben Higgins.
What happened?
Stephen Woods. Paul Reindl. All 3 of them. A brilliant move today. We have 2 television screens in this studio.
Oh, gosh.
They're constantly going with inane entertainment of some sort that I don't need to watch. So the morning show shut down the TVs this morning.
I'm very annoyed by this.
Braden Soprendant came in on the midday show with Craig and Annie. He kept the TVs off.
I can't believe he wasn't watching Fox News like he does every day.
He does watch that from time to time. But after that show was over, we came into the studio, and I looked up, and I told Skraby, I go, let's keep the TVs off today. It's so relaxing. And guess what? It's really nice. Really nice.
The problem is
I'm
that
not distracted. I'm usually looking up at the TV. People are talking to me. There's interviews, phone calls, trying to play trivia.
I'm very annoyed by this because
really liking this.
Because you have your way. You eat the crackers, which I've asked you to stop eating for about 4.5 years now.
Right.
You don't want to watch baseball games that feature pitchers that are on your fantasy team. We're not allowed to watch that.
That is really distracting to me, especially if I'm trying to do a radio show.
Exactly. We're not allowed to watch games that he has DVR'd at home.
I have a lot of rules.
You have way too many rules.
Way too many rules. But I think this is a good way to just cover all that. Leave the TV off for good.
No, because you know how hard it was to get these TVs in this room to begin with?
Yeah, they look great turned off right now.
You know, and the only reason I haven't turned it on is because I forgot, to be honest.
Well, I shouldn't have reminded you. Because they're probably going to go on as we introduce the next segment of the day, Chris versus the fans.
If you had one shot, one opportunity to take down the human almanac himself,
howdy do.
Now is your time.
Listen to me, this guy is dangerous.
Now is your opportunity to win a prize.
Well, I hope you know what you're in for.
Chris versus the fans starts now on 97.3 The Fan.
All right, you win today, you're qualified for a chance to win the grand prize. A 2-night stay at the Fontainebleau, Las Vegas. And tickets to either Hootie and the Blowfish or Smashing Pumpkins, you choose, at the Blue Live Theater. Also, $150 poolside dining credit.
Ooh.
Like sitting poolside and eating a bunch of French fries.
We're going back to that, huh?
We are. What do you like poolside?
Remember when I said I would get a nice celery?
Yeah, well, you're beyond that now. You're beyond your celery bouquet.
Yes.
Summer room packages, tickets available for the Fontainebleau are available now at FontainebleauLasVegas.com.
All right. Rules are you have to make it through 3 questions. Each question will get more difficult. If you get the question right, you move on. If you get the question wrong and Chris gets it right, you're eliminated. But if Chris gets it wrong, then you move on to the next question or you win. I am also going to call out someone from the chat today. Pedro.
Okay.
Comments every day about how Chris versus the fans won't take his call. Pedro, this is the final time I will ever ask for you to call in.
Wow.
You will now be ignored for the rest of time because you never call in and you complain every day.
He
Pedro.
complains that he can't get through
every single day.
There was a nice tweet on line that I didn't see who it was from, but they said they always try to get through. They never do. They finally did, and they won, and it made their day.
That's awesome. See, I
was very happy about that. So if they can get through, Pedro, so can you.
I think Pedro just knows that it bothers me.
Just wants to complain.
Yeah. All right. If you're a first-time player, let us know before you get into the first question, and you will get that question for free.
All right.
Let's go to our first contestant today. We're going to go to Tom in Imperial Beach. Tom, hello.
Hello. How are you guys doing?
Very well,
Pretty
Tom.
good.
It's Friday.
Are you ready to go, Tom?
Should be good.
Well, before we start, I actually called in to wish Chris a happy birthday. We're birthday neighbors. Mine is Sunday.
Oh,
very good,
so
Tom.
Very nice.
All
Happy
right.
birthday, Chris.
You too. Thank
And
you.
I know enough to know that I'm probably going to go down quickly because of Chris's knowledge. But I also know enough to know that Chris doesn't know everything.
That's true. That's very true.
He is very willing to admit that. It's also Clyde Drexler's birthday tomorrow. I always point that out because we're born the same day.
Sweet.
And I am a first-time player.
Oh, he's a
First-time
first-time player.
player.
We got a loaded call here from Tom. Thank you, Tom, for calling in to say happy birthday to Chris. That's awesome. You are going to get right to number 2, question number 2, because you are a first-time player. Here we go.
I think you're going to win today, Tom. I have a good feeling.
Let's see.
Make it happen, Skraby.
Wow, the pressure just right on me. What player has the most saves in baseball right now?
Right now?
Suarez. Suarez.
Oh, Suarez there. No.
Unfortunately, no.
Somebody has
Stay
more
there.
saves than Suarez.
Stay there. A lot more people, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
How many does Suarez have? He's got about 18, I think. 17 or 18.
Let me see. Suarez.
Doesn't
He's
matter.
got 18.
He's not the guy.
He's 18.
The guy is for the Cardinals. Helsley Helsley. He's having a big year in the save
Sorry,
department.
Tom. Thank
I
you
know
for
that
playing.
because of the fantasy baseball world in which I live.
Better.
But thank you for calling,
Tom.
Tom. Very nice of your comments were very nice. I appreciate
He's
it.
like, man, I complimented Chris, and then he eliminated
You
me.
know I can't lose on purpose. I've already told you that many times.
Devin Williams, Anthony, hasn't even played this year. I love looking at the chat.
Oh, Anthony guessed Devin Williams.
Yes, he hasn't even played this
Yeah,
year.
it's probably
He's on my
not
fantasy team, I know.
He probably isn't him.
All right, let's get to our next contestant, and we're going to go to Brandon in El Cajon. Brandon is a YouTube chatter, so the YouTube chat can never say that we didn't take any of their calls. Hello, Brandon.
Okay.
Yeah, Pedro. All you got to do is call in.
Pedro's
The YouTube
actually
chat
saying
knows
he's
when it's
calling
going
in
to
right
commercial.
now, but I don't have any lines for you, Pedro.
Well,
keep calling, Pedro. We'll get you in there.
There's no lines you're telling him to call in.
I didn't.
Let's just, you know what? Let's concern ourselves with people who are on the game show.
Good point.
Like
good point.
Brandon.
Brandon's
We'll get to
a good
Pedro
sport.
when we get to Pedro.
Brandon's part of the show, so he's going to joke about Pedro too. All right, Brandon, are you ready?
Two things.
What?
Well, happy birthday, Chris.
Thank
and
you.
shout out to everyone in the YouTube chat.
Oh, there we go.
All right.
YouTube
Everybody's
chat,
been
shout out.
everybody's been shouted out.
All right, here we go. Brandon, what was the Padres' record over the last 6-game road trip?
1-5.
1-5 is correct.
Better than 0-6.
Hey, but they're 2-0 since Wednesday, Chris.
You're only as good as your last at bat.
That's right. Here we
The
go.
old
Question
saying goes.
number 2. What team did Brad Hand start his career with, playing 5 seasons with that team?
I think we acquired him from the Marlins.
The Marlins.
Brad Hand.
Nice job.
Very
Brandon.
good,
I had no idea he played for the Marlins.
You know, I would think that Brad Hand is kind of almost forgotten to a certain extent.
He is a little bit.
Had a big year for the Padres there, but it's been, 7-8 years?
Yeah. Did he get traded by the Padres? I don't remember.
I
if he
don't
did or
recall,
not.
but he ended up elsewhere.
You know
and-
what? Brandon will probably know. Brandon, did Brad Hand get traded, or did he just leave the team?
Yeah, I think they traded him to Cleveland for, I think it was Francisco Mejia, if I'm not mistaken.
well, that worked out
yes,
for
it did.
both teams.
All right, here's the third and final question for Brandon.
For the win, Brandon's just going to go wire to wire here.
I'm going to give you one of those player names. You have to guess the team that they played on.
All three of them?
Yes.
Okay.
Let's see here. Matt Holliday, Jordan Montgomery, Sonny Gray.
The Yankees.
The Yankees is correct.
Wow.
Brandon, that was impressive right there.
He just ran
Nice
the table.
job, Brandon.
Representing the chat people beautifully, Brandon.
Yes,
Wow.
stay right there. I'm going to confirm your last name here.
Okay, you're not allowed to play ever again, Brandon, after that performance.
For the rest of the week.
That's right. He can play again. He nailed it. All three of them. Who was it again? Matt Holliday?
Jordan Montgomery, Sonny Gray.
They were all Yankees at the same time.
Yeah.
Very good.
2017 Yankees.
2017 Yankees. Memorable squad.
Yeah, Matt Holliday touched home plate with the Yankees.
Leave
but
Matt
he
Holliday
didn't
out
touch
of it.
home plate
Leave
with
him out of it.
By the way, are you still on the group chat that we have for a fantasy baseball league, or did you leave?
Barely.
That? Okay. Because did you see the whole controversy with the trade last night? That I forced a veto of a trade last night.
You forced a veto of a trade.
Yeah. So I'm looking at the lineups, Chris, and I see on top it says one transaction pending, and I'm like, what the heck is this? So I go click on it, and it's a trade. So I click on the trade.
Was it offered to you?
No, it was accepted by other players. So it was another trade in the league.
Okay.
Someone accepted this trade. They were giving up Chris Sale to get Gleyber Torres.
Okay.
1 for 1.
Right.
I thought that was extremely unfair.
To who?
To the person who is getting Gleyber Torres. They're giving up Chris Sale, who's a great pitcher. He's like top 15 in all pitcher stats. Gleyber Torres isn't even top 100 in any of the stats.
Gleyber Torres has had a tough year, but what if the person making this trade was looking to improve their offensive numbers and feel like Gleyber Torres is going to break out in the second half?
He's hitting .219 right now.
Well, but I mean, first of all, I think it's a bit lopsided on the surface, but
Yes,
I'm pointing
it's
out
very
what I'm
lopsided.
pointing out is that Gleyber Torres might hit 219, but if you trade for him today on your fantasy team, you don't get any of that. You get whatever he does from now going forward.
Basically, I was trying to block a team stacking move for later in the year because my team is starting to perform, and I feel like I'm going to run up against someone that's stacked up Chris Sale in the playoffs.
Okay. So what happened? Were you successful?
Yes, the trade has been debunked.
Really?
Yes, has been vetoed.
Okay.
See, everybody's saying on the chat it's a terrible trade, but not 100 veto worthy. Oh, I should have read the rest of that before I did that.
When are you going to offer me a trade? I want to see what you think is a fair trade. I'd like to see a trade offer come in from you.
All right, during the break, I'll come up with a trade.
Oh, brother. I'm sure it'll be of equal going both ways. My team's kind of stumbling along right now.
Yeah, how do I know I even want any of your players?
You feel, my player, you probably don't. And you know what? Forget it. You can't have any of them. There. You'll probably ask for Gunnar Henderson, and you'll probably trade me like your, backup closer or something.
You know what? I'll give you...
Gunnar Henderson's probably the best player in the league.
I'll give you Nolan Jones for Gunnar Henderson.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's basically what Chris Sale for Gleyber Torres is.
Well, I disagree with that.
I
think Gleyber Torres is a pretty decent player, is not having a great year yet. All right, we got to step away anyway. Congrats to Brandon out there, who starred in today's edition of Chris versus the Fan. Well done, sir.
Mm-hmm.
We are going to come back. We have our Big Five coming up at the bottom of the hour. We have our reprise of a very good interview earlier today with Matt Waldron coming up in the 5 o'clock hour. We'll also hear from Mike Schilt, who was on with the morning show earlier today. If you If you, by the way, want to hear that interview, don't want to wait for us to play you some of it, you can go right now and hear from Mike Schilt at 97.3thefan.sd.com. I want to ask you this when we come back, Skraby.
Okay.
I want you to give me a first half review.
Oh, gosh.
From 1 to 10, what number you'd give Mike Schilt?
Ooh.
I think that's kind of interesting.
That is very interesting. You're putting me on the hot seat, but I can handle it.
I'll go on the hot seat with you.
Okay.
I'll give you my 1 to 10 rating as well.
All right.
Coming up on Gwynn and Chris.
From the 97
ready?
What happened?
I told him I just had a sip of soda right before we went on the air. I wasn't ready. You start playing music, I got to respond. Your guy, Juan Soto, 1 home run in the last 12 games.
Uh-oh.
Batting average has dropped from 338 to 309.
Uh-oh.
How long before everybody goes crazy in New York?
I remember I have this Twitter fight with this guy who's a Yankees fan, and I said, you will reply to me one day when you are angry at Juan Soto for taking a walk. And he was like, you're crazy. But I have a feeling it's going to happen, Chris.
I will say this. Last 6 games, or last 5 games, let me see, 6. Last 6 games, he's walked 9 times. But he has 1 RBI in that span. Doing a lot of walking these days for the Yanks is our guy Juan Soto. All right, what did you rate? We got a few minutes in this segment before we get to the Big 5.
Yes.
Mike Schilt, off the field. What would you rate him out there? He's 39 and 40. And I know that that's not what we were hoping for, but keep in mind before you put your rating in, team did cut salary by a ton from last year.
And that's okay because he wasn't the manager last year.
No, but I'm just saying, comparing what you are, the expectations for this year were nowhere near what they were for last year. And I think that there's a little bit of, rejiggering of history, because I think people think, they go back to this season, they expect the Padres to be, humming along in a playoff position. I'm telling you, when the season began, I don't think anybody other than the most ardent of Padre diehards were convinced that the Padres are going to be a playoff team this year. I don't know how many of the experts really picked the Padres to go to the playoffs. Not many. Not very many at all. After all, they didn't make it last year, and they were, on paper, worse this year. So keep that in mind before you give the Mike Schilt rating. He's 39 and 40. Been up, he's been down. Has he handled the pitching staff good or well in your mind? Has he related the players well? How about his rating, his relations with the media, which have been a little bit controversial from time to time?
You want me to rate?
I thought in April, Mike Schilt was like a 10. Mm-hmm. I really felt like he got off to a great start in the minds of everybody. We found him refreshing. We found him upbeat. We found him fun. We thought that all of the ills that existed in the Bob Melvin era, which I don't necessarily always think were Bob Melvin's fault, but that's probably an argument for another time. But all of the things that we hated about the Bob Melvin era, we really loved about the Mike Schilt era. So I thought if we did this vote on April 21st instead of June 21st, he would have got a 10.
Probably.
I don't think he's going to get a 10 today.
No. You want me to give my grade?
Yeah, and give me your breakdown.
I think he gets a 5 out of a 10.
A 5.
And the reason he gets a 5 is because the team is 500.
A 5 out of 10 in a school
is 50%.
Is 50%. That's an F.
I'm not looking at it that way.
Okay, you're not looking at it.
I'm looking at it because the team is 500. Then the manager can't have a better score than what the team has. And
so they'd have to have a record of 1,000% to get a 10.
You know what I'm saying? Like if they were in first place in the NL West, I would give them a 10.
Okay,
but they're not in first place. They're in second place. They've played good at times. They've played bad at times. I would say more so the interactions with the media have changed a little bit of how I see Mike Schilt, and it's not for a bad reason. It's just like sometimes I'm not sure what he's going for in his post-game press conferences.
Okay.
So
and we also know that he doesn't care what you think about that.
Absolutely. And he shouldn't care what I think
about it. He cares what the players think about him.
Yeah, I don't think he should not care one bit about what I think. But I'm going to say 5. What about you?
I got to go a little higher than that, because I think the team's doing actually better than I thought they would do. I was hopeful that they'd be a contender, and in a lot of ways they're lucky to be a contender because they are a game under 500, but nobody else has run away with those wild card spots. So, To have them in the hunt, I like. I do like the way he seems to deal with his players. I do think that they like him a lot, and I think that is half the battle. And I agree with you. I think his unrealistic at times, rosy outlook is cause for concern. I think you need to be a little more real.
Yeah.
If you're Mike Schilt. And I think when he's telling me that the team is just fantastic in the midst of a 5-game losing streak, I don't know, does he just think I'm dumb, or is he just trying to put one over on me? Like, it kind of bugs me. So, I that's why I can't go higher than 6, and that's where I'll go.
I mean, honestly, if they were, what's the record? Is 38 and 40?
39 and 40. They got
39 and 40.
They got to win today and tomorrow to be over 500 at the halfway mark.
All right, so they're 45 and 34. That's 6 wins, which could happen.
Wait, what?
If the record was 45 and 34,
that would be plus 6 to what they actually are, right?
Yes, I would be giving him an 8 or a 9.
Oh, but they're not.
They're not.
Well, he's kept them afloat despite injuries to Darvish and Musgrove and Bogarts and many other, nicks and ills along the way. He's also been helped out by the acquisition of Cease and Arise. Yeah, I think 6 is fair. I can't go any higher.
We're getting you guys are tough, and I want to say neither of us think that he's done such a bad job that he needs to be fired. Like, he's not that,
fired.
That's not what we're talking about.
Wasn't part of the conversation
at all.
I think a 5's low. I think a 6 is
5 and a 6 are the same thing almost.
Well, you're right. If you draw 5,
I knew it.
And then you circle it in, you've got a 6.
I saw the wheels turning in his head.
Pretty close. 5 and a 6. They're
saw the
almost the
wheels
same.
turning. I don't think we're being overly tough.
I think we're being a little tough, but I think that's fine. I want to expect more. I don't want to be content with a less than 500 season and misses the playoffs. I don't want to be content with that. I want to get into the playoffs, and I don't care what anybody says. Well, if you get into the playoffs, you'll never beat the Phillies or the Dodgers. You don't know that. How bad did the Dodgers beat the Padres in 2022 during the regular season? Really bad.
Yeah, man.
And it didn't mean anything for those 4 games. Just get me in. And right now, Schilt is kind of questionable.
Man, we're being told we're too soft as media. We're being told we're too tough as media.
Now we're too tough.
I literally gave him a 5, like in the middle, and I'm too tough.
Big 5. Speaking of 5, it's coming up next on Gwynn and Chris.
Gambling problem.
All right, Big Five is coming up. People are upset with Skraby. Game manager Mike Schilt, a 5 out of 10. Nobody's really upset with me for giving him a 6.
It's almost the same number.
But you're getting all the heat for it. We'll see how Mr. 5 and his Padres fare tonight against the Milwaukee Brewers. Sam Levitt's pregame show is an hour away. But first, it is time for traffic, and then Tony's back for today's Big Five.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by SDG&E. Let's talk North County for a bit here. Got a hit-and-run crash, northbound 5, right before the 78. That is in the center divide. Southbound 5, before the 76. Collision over to the right shoulder. Actually, there's a couple vehicles in the center divide as well. Also going to find on northbound 15, just before the 78. Stalled vehicle in the fast lane. Also around the county, collision clearing on eastbound 8 just past Taylor Street up ahead. Collision on the Texas Street on-ramp to eastbound 8. And our Cordell and Cordell traffic cam shows a crash downtown, southbound 5 before Civic Center. 3 vehicles over the right shoulder. In peak wildfire season, as a last resort, SDG&E may need to shut off power in specific areas for public safety. Learn more about public safety power shutoffs at sdge.com/PSPS. I'm Kelly Danick with Gwynn and Chris, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
It's that time of the show when we check on the latest in sports. Only the most important topics and questions are brought to light.
Stop what you're doing and listen.
These news stories will astound and amaze you. The one, the only.
Oh my God, who the hell cares?
The Big Five starts now on 97.3 The Fan.
All right, so one of the things that we've been seeing, at least in the an 8-game span, is that Jackson Merrill has some power, and he's got power for days, it seems like, right now.
Number 5.
And his power surge continued last night, and he continues to break records with his recent performance. In fact, according to Opta Stats, Jackson Merrill is the second center fielder 21 years or younger in MLB history to hit 6 or more home runs in an 8-game span, counting only home runs while playing center field. The other, Willie Mays, from July 15th to the 22nd, 1951. So he did that, and then last week, I think it was last week, he had the walk-off home run. He was the youngest player to ever have multi-home run game, with the walk-off home run being one of them. So, Chris, with all of that said, how many home runs does Jackson Merrill finish with this year?
Well, I believe he's got 9 right now, and he missed 10 by about a foot last night. So He almost hit another one, and that would have been off another lefty, too. So, I mean, he's really locked in right now. I would like to, first of all, I want to comment on the Willie Mays thing. I mean, that was glorious. On a week when, we have the passing of a legend, and Jackson Merrill does something that only Willie Mays has ever done. It's kind of a weird statistic, but that's something to kind of cherish, if you ask me. I mean, anytime you're going to mention me in the same sentence as Willie Mays, that's pretty special company. But what I was going to say is I'd like to find all of the people out there who said that Jackson Merrill's only going to be a singles hitter. They were sure of it. They guaranteed us he's going to be a gap hitter, doubles, be lucky to hit 5 home runs. So where are those people now? I think he's going to get 17 to 20 when the season ends. Yes, wow, but he is right now. I'd be very careful with him because he's locked in nicely.
Yeah, Tony, how many home runs do you think Jackson Merrill finishes with this year?
16.
16.
All right.
16 homers.
All right. Any reasoning behind 16?
No, I think he kind of explained it all. And Jackson did. His homers are coming in bunches. And I think that's ultimately a piece of his game. It's not his game. He'll continue to be gap to gap and do what he's done to this point. And I just think he's more confident. He's got some pop. I mean, so I see him in the 16 range this year.
One thing I would like to see is an updated version of that ESPN award-winning story that was out about a month ago when they ranked the top 10 rookies in the National League.
Remember, we don't want him to be ranked. We want him under the radar.
Sorry, he's got to be ranked about now. I mean,
he's
please.
not though. That's the crazy part.
Well, he wasn't a month ago. He certainly has to be now. He's got to be
I don't
starting.
even think he was on the Bleacher Report list last week.
He's got to be starting to get in the running for Rookie of the Year. I know that there's some other guys that are ahead of him, but there's only one rookie in all of baseball that has more homers than him, and that's Ramos of San Francisco, who has 10. Considering Jackson's playing every day in center field, that's a big boost too to his candidacy. I think he's clearly in the running at the moment. Tony, do you, or do you think that's too much?
If I'm being honest, I'm not 100% sure who's all in the running besides Jackson.
Well, you've got Imanaga of the Cubs has been great.
Apparently, the odds say Paul Skeens is going to get the NL.
Oh yeah, he's got a hill to climb over.
Yes, he does. He does.
Paul Skeens,
Yoshinobu
Imanaga,
Yamamoto, Joey Ortiz, Jared Jones, Andy Pajes, Michael Bush. Those are the guys.
Wow.
Yeah, Imanaga, who's been brilliant from day one. Jackson's probably third on that list.
Yeah,
right now
he's in the hunt.
According to the odds, he's plus 25. I might actually go make.
You're gonna go make an intelligent
Rookie
bet
of the year.
At
plus 2,500. That's not bad.
That's not bad at all.
I'll even put down 100 bones on that.
Maybe all three of us should go in together
and
on a wager.
Put down like 500
I don't
bones?
bet on baseball.
Tony can't bet on baseball.
Tony won't do it. He shouldn't do it. He can't.
I don't bet at all.
You should.
Certainly not on sports.
That's all we need.
Stay out of that, Tony.
That's all we need is a controversy with Tony involved on that. Yeah, that'd be
local
bad.
San Diego broadcaster.
Not good.
I can't be the dude that keeps asking questions like, "What is going on with these people?"
Yeah,
and then turn around and drop a bet. That was
drop a bet.
That's a good point. Good point. At least you remembered that because Chris and I were just signing.
Yeah, we were
for
just gonna go collect your money.
Number 4.
In the last few years, Major League Baseball, I'll give them some credit. They have done some really good things with these historical destination games during the season. A few years ago, they debuted the Field of Dreams game, which I thought was awesome. They've had some games at the Little League World Series. And now Major League Baseball did a pretty good job bringing a game to Rickwood Field in Birmingham, Alabama yesterday. Cardinals ended up beating the Giants 6-5, and it seems like this stuff is going to continue with Major League Baseball. Tony, is there a stadium or a field that comes to mind you want to see them play at?
I mean, all the ones now, I don't know that they don't exist.
Yeah, that did enter my mind when I wrote this question.
Yeah, none of them exist. Back in the day, and I think it was one of the MVP games, there was a way that like a code that you could put in the game, and you could play at like Ebbets Field. And this is before these fields, like you can get them all over the games now, but like the Polo Grounds.
Yeah. The Polo Grounds is fun to play at.
Like they could go all kinds of places. Those are the places I would want to see them play at, but they don't exist anymore.
They are pretty good about setting the scene. They could build.
Oh, come on.
A stadium that
build
looked
Ebbets
like
Field?
the Polo Grounds.
They rebuild Ebbets Field.
They could do
Get
that.
out of here.
They could do that.
Get out. They can't. Okay. Where are they going to build it? In San Diego, where stadiums pop up every day?
No, a soundstage somewhere.
A soundstage somewhere.
Maybe out in the desert somewhere building a stadium.
Yeah, that doesn't work either.
Yeah, you're a little trying here. You're a little cuckoo. I think it's a good question because there's a lot of great places, but Tony's right. I just wanted to point out. I don't know if this is in your Big Five, but. With the game at Rickwood Field last night, did everybody get a chance to see Reggie Jackson's conversation with Alex Rodriguez?
Amazing.
I did.
It is absolute must-watch video. I retweeted it out last night. I think Skraby will tweet it out or something. If you haven't seen Reggie talk about some of the racism that he faced when he was down in Birmingham and trying to break into baseball, it's quite sobering.
Yeah.
But I think it's must for everybody to just be reminded where a lot of these players, have come from, what they had to put up with. And I also give a lot of credit to MLB Network and whoever was doing that interview as a whole panel that allowed Reggie Jackson to speak and say what he really had to say. It was not easy to listen to.
No.
But everybody laid
tough.
out and let him say what he had to say. And I hope that everybody out there takes a minute to hear it today.
It was A-Rod. It was the whole MLB Network crew that usually does those games with it up there with him.
Right.
It was powerful.
Because it was Fox. Fox was broadcasting the game.
Right,
so.
but I think it was on MLB Network.
I gotcha.
Anyway, the point is they let him say what he said, And it was uncomfortable, but,
Yeah.
it needed to be said and it needed to be heard. And if you're out there and haven't seen it, find it on Twitter and take a couple of minutes of your day to listen.
So any fantasy stadiums you want to see?
Yeah, no, I'm good. I think Tony hit it pretty good. So.
Okay, all right. What is that? Is it Little Wrigley Field or something? Should they go play a game? What is that?
Little Wrigley Field? That was
Yes.
in Los Angeles.
It was in L.A.
That was in Los Angeles. The L.A. Angels played there, again, back in the 40s. It does not exist anymore. Sorry, Square.
Okay, well, they're going to have to
They
get on
gone.
building that. They gone.
Number 3.
All right, it's being reported today that the major leagues may see the automated balls and strike system implemented by the 2026 season after announcing earlier this week all AAA teams are going to start using it in 4 days on June 25th. Commish Rob Manfred, he's done actually a lot recently to change the game. He's done the pitch clock, the ghost runner. He led it through COVID, and most of it is going pretty well. But, Chris, is the robo-ump system going to be his biggest achievement?
I don't know. I think his biggest. That's a good question. I first of all, I hate it. I don't want it. But I feel like I'm trying to, plug a gushing dike with a toothpick.
What?
I don't know. You know what I mean?
A dam, yes.
A dam.
Yes. But I know what you're saying. That what you used is a term for a water.
It is also a term.
Water-
I'm sorry you
water
didn't like
thing.
that term. The point is,
you're trying to.
I'm trying to make the point that the robo-umps are coming, and I can't do anything about it. So, I think this probably will be his biggest thing. And I have a feeling it's going to work. I think the technology is getting close if it's not there already. You're going to have umpires on the field, to operate and take us through the game. But the amount of mistakes that are being made by home plate umpires, now that we all can see what is actually a ball and a strike. The game last night, for example, I saw tweeted out there was 21 missed calls.
It was his worst game of the
by
season.
the home plate umpire,
yes.
but 20 of them went against the Brewers.
Yeah.
Only one missed call went against the Padres. That's, that can't happen, right? I mean, you can't give one team that big of an advantage because of human error. So it's coming. It probably will be the biggest thing. And, everything else worked, and I didn't think any of it would. So...
Tony, is this going to be Rob Manfred's
I have a
biggest
whole
achievement?
bunch to say on this. First, where did you get this report?
CBSSports.com.
CBSSports.com. And it
Which
said
report?
ABS, or did it say that they were the challenge system? would be
Okay,
put?
here, I'm going back to CBSSports.com right now, and it says, get ready, looks like
Yeah, no, I
robo-umps-
know what the title says, but what does the actual story say?
The story...
Because from what I know is that ABS is going to be implemented with the challenge system, not a full-on robot system. So,
yes, they're still calling it a robo-ump, but you're correct. It is going to be the
okay,
challenge
well,
system.
I know what they're
yes.
calling it. We got to make sure we.
All right, so
explain
not
to
every
the
ball
people.
and strike is going to be just
No.
called
No, you're right.
automatically.
This is a good...
All right, that's
this
a
is-
difference.
Yes.
There's
But
a huge difference.
It's a challenge
And
system.
The
batter
reason
gets the
why
challenge.
Major League Baseball is going this way is because most of the players and most of the fans don't want an full automated umpiring system.
Yeah.
And so, with that being said, I'm okay with the challenge system. I said that when we talked about it last time. I don't want the whole full ABS. I think it takes away from the flavor of the game. And by, having this challenge system, we're not, it won't be every pitch. There'll still be some calls that, depending on how many challenges you get, that are still going to be missed. There's still a human element. The more and more I do these games and watch that rectangle box and then watch these home plate umpires on their couches come up and tell us how many calls were missed, the reality is that thing that we're looking at on TV is not accurate. And so we don't actually know how many calls were missed. And we think we know because we think we know what the strike zone is. But I'm willing to bet that most of us don't know exactly where the strike zone is. And there aren't a lot of Major League Baseball stadiums that take it from directly behind the mound. Everything is angled to the left. Even as I sit here now in San Diego, the camera well is not directly behind the mound. And for good reason. You wouldn't be able to see anything. So they got to angle it. And so that angle near throws off what we get to see on TV in terms of strike ball. It's not crazy inaccurate, but it's not fully accurate.
Go ahead, Tony.
I say that to say that I think the challenge system will be good. I think it's going to work, and I think it'll be another, notch in the belt for Rob Manfred.
I talked to Mike Winters last night at the ball game.
You guys are
the
best
former
friends
umpire.
now.
We are kind of best buddies. We've known each other a long time. So I don't know why you keep giving me this old. All of a sudden, me and Mike Winters are tight.
Oh, because
I've known him for well before.
You come in here glowing, talking about your.
I like talking to Mike Winters.
He's a fun guy to talk to.
He is, and he had a really good point on the check swing, because when they show a check swing on television, you're normally seeing it from the first base dugout camera. All right? So we see it from that angle on TV. But the first base umpire who's calling the check swing is not standing in the dugout.
Exactly.
He's standing on the first base line.
He has a whole different view.
So he has a whole different view from the one we think we see. And so I think that's what Tony's bringing up here. We think we know what's a strike and a ball, but we don't always.
No, we don't.
All right. We'll see what happens.
Number 2.
I guess we're forced to see what happens. We're going to go back to the Rickwood Field game from last night. And before that, the pregame coverage had some fun conversations, including this one between Barry Bonds, Ken Griffey Jr., and Derek Jeter about what they would do if they faced Satchel Paige, and they're actually asking Barry.
Playing against both of you two were probably two of the most confident players I ever played against. Tell me right now, on the spot, what would you do against Satchel Paige?
Me?
Yeah, you.
Gone. You have lost your mind, Jeter. Gone. Simple. Gone. Read about it on ESPN, Fox News, whatever else you want to talk about. You got to believe in yourself. If I don't believe in me, who going to believe in me?
That's right.
I'm a drag button. Derek, you said I'm drag button.
I'm going to take
And that was Ken Griffey Jr. at the end saying
Griffey's drag bunting?
Drag bunting, yes. Yeah. Tony, do you think Barry Bonds would homer against Satchel Paige?
Yes, Barry Bonds would homer against anybody.
I thought that was the answer.
I mean, the dude was that good. Like, he was unbelievable. I mean, yeah. I believe him every word. And he was the most confident individual I've ever met in my life, for sure. Like, he would talk to my dad. It was that same tenor right there. He would. That's how he spoke when he was talking about the game of baseball. That's why he was so good. Yeah, no, I don't think there is a pitcher that's ever been created that would be out of the realm for Barry Bonds to take them deep.
Chris?
Well, Satchel Paige would be about 90 years old right now, so I think Barry Bonds would have a better chance. No.
I don't know. He's skinny these days.
Satchel Paige, I didn't see any footage of Satchel Paige other than some of his crazy wind-ups. He used to give the old spinning arm before he actually went into the wind-up. But I agree with Tony. I don't think there's any pitch created that Barry Bonds couldn't hit over a wall somewhere. I think it'd be better to ask Satchel Paige what he'd do to Barry Bonds or what he'd try to do against Barry Bonds.
Right.
Throw like a 100-mile-an-hour fastball.
But that's not enough.
Yeah,
I mean,
true.
there's no 100-mile-per-hour. By the way, again, on the 100-mile-per-hour pitch, Tony, I have a question for you. Because everybody now has 2 or 3 guys on the team that throws 100 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Are we telling ourselves now that every team in baseball has 5 or 6 pitchers that all throw as fast as Nolan Ryan used to? Because, Nolan Ryan barely ticked 100.
Are we talking 100?
Well, Nolan Ryan, when he pitched, barely ticked 100. When he got there, it was like a big story. But now 100 doesn't even register on our interest meter.
Yeah, no, we got a bunch of guys who can throw 100 now.
You think? I mean, is it a legit thing? I guess so.
It's hard,
That's what I mean. Is it hard? It's hard to quantify to me.
The jugs are the guns now are out of the hand. I know at one point it wasn't out of the hand.
It was how fast it was when it got to the plate.
Right.
So that's different, right?
It's different. I don't know how long it's been different for, but I know for a long time when I was at least a young kid, it was at the plate.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, because I don't know
somewhere down the line it started changing to out of the hand.
Like, it'd be interesting. I mean, does Robert Suarez throw as hard as Nolan Ryan did? I don't know. Because it's
Looks
a
like it.
different metric. Seems like it
Yeah,
does.
no, I don't know. Well, you know,
The world may never know.
we may never
Chris.
know. Yeah, we may never know.
Yeah.
Number 1.
All right, Shohei Ohtani and New Balance have debuted his first ever signature shoe with the extremely clever name of Ohtani 1. The new shoe will be available in cleat and turf versions with a corresponding apparel line.
Wait, why is that extremely clever?
It's not at all. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, okay, you're being funny.
You don't feel like they spent a lot of time on that name?
No, they're like,
Ohtani
oh, let's think long and hard. We need a name that people are gonna like.
Ohtani
hey,
1?
We're gonna hand you $500,000 marketing agency. Please come up with a name. Ohtani 1? Oh yes, that's brilliant.
Let us give you 600,000.
Yes, please. And here's some bonus money too. Anyway, there's a corresponding apparel line coming out. Blah 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 blah. Chris, is New Balance a cool shoe brand in your eyes?
I got to
Here's
pass
the shoe.
Yeah, it's all right. I don't know. I got to pass it over. I'm an on-cloud shoe guy.
What?
What's that?
On-cloud. They're the greatest shoes of all time.
It's
It's
on
on.
cloud?
It's on the cloud.
No, on-cloud.
Like on the cloud, like Dropbox or something?
O-N, next word,
I'm
C-L-O-U-D.
just messing
That's
with
the name of the
Chris.
shoe. I don't know
That's
what
the-
else
oh,
to
that's
tell
the
you.
name of the
Yes,
shoe.
yes, I got it. Yes, now I
They
get it.
are the most comfortable shoe I've ever seen, ever worn. I would do a commercial for them in a heartbeat. So,
Huh.
but I'm
You
gonna
hear that on Cloud, people?
Yeah, I'm gonna pass this along to my shoe expert, Tony
Shoe
Gwynn
expert,
Jr.
Tony Gwynn
Because
Jr.?
I don't really have an opinion on it.
Is New Balance a cool shoe in your eyes?
Wow. They've come a long way.
That's a good way of answering it.
They've come a long way. I don't know that they still make that dad shoe.
Yes.
And that was like their staple. You know,
Yeah.
unlike the Nike Monarch, they kind of made it to get into that kind of demographic. That was New Balance's demographic to begin with. Now they've gotten younger. They got a bunch of players. They got a bunch of dudes. So I'm gonna say yes, it is now a cool shoe.
I think they have Kawhi Leonard, right?
They got Kawhi. They got Lindor. They got a bunch of
Shohei.
dudes.
Yeah.
They got
right.
they got Hasung.
Oh yes, they do. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, the Ohtani one's coming to a shoe store near you.
I want
everybody.
Tony to look up the on cloud and get a pair. I'm
Tony would
curious
never.
to.
No.
You don't think
I'll look
Tony
it up.
Could,
I'm not
could
getting
wear
it.
an on cloud? Why not? Why wouldn't
Tony
you want to be
could.
comfortable,
He would
Tony?
never because
No.
it's called on cloud.
Oh,
Exactly.
yes,
All right,
they're
Matt
so
Waldron.
good, Tony.
Coming
Only
up in the
Nikes
next
grace my feet.
hour. 97.2
Hey, it's Annie from Annie.
Right back to it, the happy hour on a Friday afternoon in San Diego. Sunny San Diego these days, Skraby.
Yes, it's very
Sun's
sunny.
been shining, a little warm out there.
It's
Welcome
very
back to Gwynn and Chris Crisello. Tony Gwynn Jr., who's down at Petco Park. He and Don Orsillo have the TV call tonight with our own Jesse Agler and Bob Scanlon handling the radio description and accounts of tonight's ball game between the Padres and the Milwaukee Brewers. Game 2 of a 4-game series. Game 1 last night, you may have recalled, went the way of the Friar. 7-6 Padres. Third consecutive game, Padres win at home on a 9th-inning walk-off home run. That's never happened before. That's so weird. I mean...
Wait, say it one more time?
It's never happened before.
What?
Bottom of the 9th, 3 straight home games, walk-off home run.
Oh, yeah, that is crazy.
Right? I mean, you always say, hey, go to a baseball game, you might see something you've never seen before. Well, you did last night, and no team's ever won any style of walk-off home run 4 games in a row, whether it's 9th inning or extra innings.
Ooh, that's something to watch for tonight.
If the Padres hit a walk-off home run tonight, Skraby, I will start backing into parking spots on the line next to your car.
So you're saying that it's not going to happen? You don't want to do that.
I think I'm going to say one thing that will not happen. Luis Campusano will not hit the walk-off tonight to win the game. That is because the Padres catcher's been scratched from the start tonight. He was originally in the starting lineup, now replaced by Kyle Higashioka, the skipper of the Padres, who was given a rating of 5 by Matt Skraby earlier on the program.
You said 6.
Shh. We're focused on your 5 for now. Explains why Campusano's not in there tonight.
No, Campy was in the lineup, so we got Higgy in there today. Campy showed up with some thumb soreness and bruising and a contusion from a ball he caught from Yuki last night. I don't think we're overly concerned about it, but nonetheless, it's limiting him for today, and we'll see what it looks like moving forward.
That's the same thumb that he dealt with last season, I assume.
I believe that's accurate. Yes. According to Rowe, we made the switch. I just got through. I heard about it, and here we are. So I don't want to misspeak. My initial what I've heard is it's not in a similar area, and there's concern relative to the actual injury, but not relative to what he's had in the past. That could clearly change, AJ. I'm just giving you the little bit of information I've got.
And we had a special appearance in that clip by AJ Cassaville.
Yes.
Our friend from MLB.com.
Yes.
Yeah, well, look, I saw the play last night. Campusano, they had to stop the game. Trainer came out. I mean, he's been taking a beating back there.
Not in his finger. He's been taking a beating
other
elsewhere.
places, but last night, it was just the thumb area. So hopefully it's just a contusion, the bruise, couple of days. Don't want to do an injury list thing, but if you do, I guess Brent Sullivan could come up. The Padres did make a move today. Our friend Tom Cosgrove has been on this show many times. It's coming up
Completely forgot about him, to be honest.
I kind of had forgotten about old Cosgrove as well, but very successful. Lefty out of the bullpen last year. Not as much so this year, but Cosgrove is going to be on the roster tonight. Adam Major has been sent down to make room for Cosgrove. It gives the Padres an extra bullpen arm heading into this game this evening against the Brew Crew. We also have our Friar Friday interview with Matt Waldron coming up shortly. And I probably say this every Friday. I always say, I really like the interview today. So it's probably lost a little of its, appeal. I'm kind of like the Mike Schilt of Friar Friday interviews. It's always great. But today I really did think it was really good. So I hope you'll stick around if you haven't heard the Matt Waldron interview. I thought he was quite good. A couple of quick things I wanted to get to, Skraby. One had to do with Jackson Merrill.
Okay.
We talked about it in the Big Five. We talked about it a little earlier in the show, but, he hits the home run last night, 6th in 8 games. He's up to 9 homers for the season. He's at 279 now, the batting average. I think there's two things that are surprising. One, that he's now got 9 home runs. I think people expected him to not even finish the season with 9.
Yeah.
And he's already got 9. But secondly, that he's hitting a lot of them off of left-handed pitchers. And he almost hit another one later in the game last night that died on the warning tracker right in front of the fence. So anyway, Jackson Merrill's been great lately. And, it just got me thinking. I mean, this Baseball America poll or ESPN poll about Rookies of the Year National League and, him not even being among the top 10 rookies in the league just seems really almost irresponsible. At this point,
it makes you think, what are they actually looking at?
I don't know. I think hype is a lot of it. But anyway, here are the latest odds. According to BetMGM, the latest odds to win National League Rookie of the Year. So this will give you a little feel for where Jackson Merrill sits. Number 1 favorite at the moment, Shota Imanaga. The Cubs, although that may take a hit because he gave up 10 runs today.
Yeah, it should take a hit.
Should take a little bit of a hit. Number 2 on the rankings, Paul Skeens of the Pirates. I will grant you he's been
exciting,
all that and then some.
But he's
also only been here a month.
Yeah.
He's not been here all season. Again, now you're betting on who's going to win the Rookie of the Year award at the end. But Skeen seems a little, high.
Yeah.
But again, that's hype. Yoshinobu Yamamoto. I don't know. Has he really taken the Dodgers and everybody by storm? He's been okay.
His triceps hurt. He's on the 15-day IL right now, Chris.
I love this. Skraby gets so mad.
I do. His
All
triceps.
All right, so those are your top 3. Now, the 4th guy is Joey Ortiz. Plays for the Brewers. Played third base last night. Bats 8th in their order. I don't have to look up his stats, but
he hasn't see anything.
He hasn't done anything that's grabbed me. Jared Jones is a young pitcher for Pittsburgh, like Paul Skeens. He's had some good moments, some bad ones. Andy Pages of the Dodgers is the next guy in the list. I can't put him ahead of Jackson Merrill.
I've seen the guy play.
He's got 8 home runs. He's hitting .264. Neither of those are what Jackson Merrill is. But if you're betting, sometimes it's better to bet on a Dodger than it is to bet on a Padre.
It's ridiculous.
Michael Busch, the former Dodger, now with the Cubs, is also ahead of Jackson Merrill.
He's had a decent...
He's been okay.
Yeah.
So is Mason Wynn of the Cardinals, who's also ahead of Jackson Merrill. So that is pretty current. 4, 6, 7, 8. Jackson Merrill ranks 9th choice to be Rookie of the Year.
And I'm not just saying that because we're in San Diego.
Maybe it is just because we're in San Diego that we don't understand it, but we don't understand
My
it.
friend from Cincinnati, we keep in touch about baseball, and he actually texted me a few weeks ago. He was like, who's this Jackson Merrill dude? I haven't heard of him before. I'm like,
yeah.
That just tells you everything you need to know, is that no one knows who he is across the country because no one's talking about him. And we've talked about it here on the show. That's a good thing that the pressure isn't on him.
Michael Busch of the Cubs also has 9 home runs. He's hitting .266.
And Jackson Merrill's hitting .270 what?
.279. And it doesn't come down to only numbers. I get that. But the fact that Jackson Merrill has played center field, which is a key position on the diamond, and he's done it against lefties and against righties, I think it's been very impressive. And I think it deserves a little more stature than it's getting.
I agree.
All right, one more thing I want to get to kick off this hour. Bill Plaschke, Los Angeles Times columnist, wrote a column on the Lakers' hiring of J.J. Redick as their new head coach. Suffice to say, Bill Plaschke, not too pleased with this move.
Yeah.
Said Bill Plaschke in his article, among other things, an NBA team in most need of strong leadership just hired a head coach who has never been a head coach, assistant, or any kind of coach.
I don't disagree with him.
Well, that's one thing he said. He said an NBA team desperate for a culture creator just hired a head coach who has never led a group of athletes at any level above youth basketball.
That's also true.
An NBA team that just lost its share of the record for most championships, the Celtics now have 18, just hired a coach who has never been involved with a champion.
I can tell you why they did this, because Dan Hurley said no. They put all of their eggs in the Dan Hurley basket.
Well, there's other people that are still out there. I don't know. They must really be taken by Reddick. I've read that the Lakers say he's going to be their version of Eric Spoelstra. That might be a little early, considering Spoelstra's been to the East Finals 7 times in 14 years.
Yeah, you can't compare yourself to him.
Don't know that we can put Reddick in that company quite yet. He hasn't even coached a game.
Yeah.
My biggest worry is not any of the 3 things that Plaschke said. Because honestly, even though everybody starts with no experience, some guys just have the knack and can get it done. But the thing that worries me is this whole podcast he does with LeBron James.
I'm loving it.
That has got to be dealt with in one way or another. You can't have the star player and the coach doing their own little fun podcast on the side while you're trying to coach a basketball team.
I don't think that, as much as I want it to happen, I don't think it's going to happen.
Well,
I think they're going to tell him, hey, let's cut out on the podcast and let's focus on the basketball real quick.
We'll see if Reddick is a success with the Lake Show. One person I know isn't so sure. His name is on the title of this show. And it's not Chris.
I was going to say.
All right, we'll take a break. When we come back.
That was a weird transition.
I'm sorry. Okay, I'll just say it. Tony Gwynn is not a big fan of his own hire, J.J. Redick.
All right.
That's what I was trying to get to.
Thank you.
Traffic, and then come back with us and hear Matt Waldron. I know you'll like it.
From the
think has led to the success? I mean, I've talked to you a little bit about it in the clubhouse about your different ranges of your knuckleball. The one thing that stands out to me is on days that you haven't necessarily been able to command it the way you want, you've been able to lean on that sweeper and on that cutter and on that sinker to get you back in at bats so that you could use the knuckleball. Has that kind of been the evolution in your year so far?
Yeah, I would definitely say that. I think, number one, I would say, I rely on the knuckleball for sure. And if that thing's not going, it definitely I have to rely on something else, whether that's a sweeper or, backdoor two-seamer, anything really. You just, I feel like, yeah, having all of them isn't always possible, but, when they're on, it definitely makes the job less tough.
Matt Waldron is with us from the Padres, who play the Brewers tonight, and our Friar Friday guest. Matt, I'm curious, how much of a knuckleball savant are you or have you become? And I'm talking about some of the history and the pitchers that have used the knuckleball, and have you had a chance to speak to some of these guys at all? Charlie Huff, Tom Candiotti, talk about the pitch. It seems like back in the day anyway, the knuckleballer was kind of a fraternity unto itself. Right now, you're a pitcher unto yourself because no one else is throwing it. So who do you lean on to talk about this crazy thing that you have?
Yeah, I've definitely talked with a couple guys. I'd say Tom Candiotti significantly, and he's always left the door open. So if I ever have questions or hit a wall, and this game can definitely make you do that. So I'll reach out to him, but I can't say I've looked up so much of the history that I know all about I'd probably disappoint you on saying that I just don't know as much about the history. Obviously, I know Wakefield, and I believe he's the reason why I started throwing it, and so it's been cool to experience it. But really, just I feel like I'm able to throw that pitch, and learning how to compete with it was the hardest part at first. But and I feel like I'm learning. I'm just trying to make strides, and I'm always a student of this game, and I feel like some things have been clicking a little bit recently.
I have to share with you, having been up in the booth next to Tom. This guy is beaming watching you throw the knuckleball and have the success that you're having. I mean, obviously, he talked a little bit about you guys' relationship and giving you some little tidbits. And he made the note to myself that you've kind of gone through the same evolution as every knuckleballer, right? I think there's a part of you that, I still got good stuff on the other pitches. I don't necessarily want to become just a knuckleballer, but we've seen you at times when you've had your most success throwing it at a high level. He is certainly a guy who it seems like is in your corner, even though, he's working with another team right now.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I really appreciated that, just having, and I think he's supportive too. And that's what I think I've loved the most is just he wants to see me do well. And I think that does more than even just leaving the door open. I think just that support, and he's been very helpful.
Matt Waldron is with us. Grew up in Omaha, Nebraska, for those who might wonder. Went to the University of Nebraska, but grew up a Kansas City Chiefs fan, which is why this next quote is so amazing. The quote is, "I'm trying to learn the knuckleball the Waldron dude from the Padres throws." And the guy who said that quote was Patrick Mahomes, no less, the Chiefs quarterback. Have you had a chance to talk with him? Has he contacted you yet? I know you were kind of fired up about that, though.
Yeah, that was a crazy experience. I remember I got a couple texts saying, "Hey, the MVP shouted you out." And for us that day, the MVP of our game was Jackson because he hit the walk-off. So I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. But then I realized they were talking about Mahomes, so that was a different level. And then, but no, I haven't gotten to talk to him. I'd say I'm a little nervous. I don't think I'm quite qualified to.
Oh, you're qualified. Come on.
But that definitely crossed my mind. But no, wow. Yeah, that was a definite high in my life for sure that I don't think I would have thought meant as much as it does.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Matt Waldron joins us here. Matt, a little bit about game planning as you go into each of these starts. you and Ruben, I assume, and whoever's catcher, we know it's going to usually be Kyle catching, get together, you formulate your game plan. How much is that able to stick depending on how well the knuckleball feels? Because a lot of times for the knuckleballers in the past, they would have a start in which they just had no feel for the knuckleball, and they would get hit. You don't necessarily have to go through that because you have the other pitches. Has there been a start where the knuckleball just didn't feel good coming out, and you kind of had to adjust the game plan?
Yeah, absolutely. And those are scary, to be honest. Those are like, it feels like I'm fighting with one arm or something, I would say. So I don't feel quite as whole without it. But I would say the Reds series was definitely one there. I was just like, the Reds at home, the first time we played them was tough for me. And that being, when I have a lack of belief in it, that's even another like just really like debilitating, scenario, and it gets to you. So I feel like just that lack of belief in it too kind of doubles down on top of just the results that it wasn't getting.
Well, let's get in the results now for you, Matt. And some of the quotes. To hear Jazz Chisholm say he thinks it's the best pitch in baseball, and Bryson Stott the other day said, man, he threw one to Bohm that hit him, and then threw the same pitch to me, and it dropped in for a strike. I didn't know what to do. It's nice to hear that, I'm sure. Real last thing I wanted to ask you, because I did have a chance to visit with Phil Niekro one time, the great knuckleballer, and he detailed this whole thing to me about what he does between starts and on game days in terms of keeping his fingernails right. Because it's actually a fingernail ball in a lot of ways. Got to dig them into the ball.
That's true.
Right. So are you very careful, like between starts, or is it just day of game to make sure that everything is exactly right the way you need it?
Yeah, I would say at first I was like obsessing over it a little bit, and then I think that I guess psyched me out a little bit. So like I'd be like, oh no, that's a millimeter too long or something, because it really is. So I feel like just, I kind of get it dialed in the night before, and that way I don't have to worry about it. And if it's a little long, like I'd rather shy on it being too long than too short. And I'm like, yeah. So that is, there's some serious truth to that. Yeah, the nail length being very important.
That's interesting. A lot of knuckleballers that I've seen carry a foul with them,
yes,
and they're
they
constantly shaping the nails. That's super interesting. Matt, we'll let you go, man. We know you got to get your day started. Appreciate you coming on. Continued success as we move forward in the season, and thanks for giving us some of your time.
Thanks, Matt.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Good luck.
Matt Waldron, Padres knuckleballer.
Matt Waldron, he's got the knuckleball dancing. Last 8 starts, Skraby. Matt Waldron, 2 runs, 1 run, 2 runs, no runs, 1, 1, 2, 1. That'll get it done. And he's the only pitcher all year. Now, this is pretty good. He's the only pitcher all year to go 7 innings at least against the Phillies and hold them to 1 or fewer runs.
Yeah, I heard you say that in the roundtable yesterday.
I know. I couldn't believe it.
Stat.
Yeah, he's the only guy to do it. So
I tried. I've been looking at how he throws the knuckleball, and I've been trying to.
You're working on it?
Well, not right now because of my shoulder, but
I
don't even know how anyone can throw a ball without rotation. It is so difficult. So difficult.
Yeah, you got to practice quite a bit, and to be able to throw it at the big league level and be able to control it well enough so that it doesn't just, because if it doesn't dance, then it flies out of the ballpark.
Dance!
It's as simple as that. It's the easiest pitch to hit in the world if it doesn't move around.
It's on a tee.
Exactly. But Waldron's got it going, and that's been a great part of this Padres early season. All right, now we're mid-season. Heck, it's not even early anymore.
That is crazy.
Sam Levitt's next. Pre-game show for Tony Gwynn Jr., Mr. Skraby, Chris Ello here. Enjoy the weekend. We're back at you